The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own Palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set and blew. Child Roland, to the Dark Tower came.
We are content, one from many. Let the Palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's magnum opus, The Dark Tower series. My name is Tad.
And I'm Peter.
And we are, for the first time ever, not from the same location as usual. As you can see from the
Setup here.
pretty bland background overall. No movie collection
Yeah.
or, pithy quote behind us.
Yeah.
We are in our hotel room here in Las Vegas, in lovely Las Vegas, Randy Land, as I like to call it.
Boo.
Yeah, and we obviously been talking about it. We came here to talk about the It escape room, which we just went to today.
Yep.
So yeah, let's dive into the the intro stuff real quick. And then we'll go on into it. First of all, I want to warn you about spoilers. This is a roundtable, so we will spoil everything freely for the 7 books of the Dark Tower series. But we are also going to be talking a lot about It, as that is the main thing we're discussing here. Is the It escape room, which is going to have a lot of It discussions, both book and movies. Specifically the movies. There wasn't really a whole lot with the TV show.
No,
the
it was
miniseries.
based solely off of the newer movies, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for spoiler warning. Then if you want to find us, you can find us on Apple Podcasting. You can stream us on Spotify, or you can find us on any podcasting service, including now Amazon Music and Audible have podcasts. If you want to subscribe, rate, and review us on any of those, we'd appreciate that. And then if you want to find us live on YouTube, you can do that over here at youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. If you want to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, then you could join us live. You could follow up with previous videos if you want to do that. All that kind of stuff is fun. This is actually a unique one because we are not going live because the universal maxim of all hotels have shitty Wi-Fi. It's pretty dismal, and there is just really no way we could find that was adequate enough to trust live streaming.
Yeah, it was. We did some speed tests last night. It was just not up to snuff.
Yeah, even like trying to hotspot with our phones and stuff. I don't know how technology in that aspect has fallen behind so much. And I don't know how the hell people that live stream and like go to like conventions and stuff, how they manage it. But so we're actually we're recording the video and then we're going to post it afterwards. But generally speaking, these are live. This is the first ever video that's a full episode that is not live.
Since we started doing live shows.
On YouTube. Oh, yeah, YouTube-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
We've always been live. So this is a unique thing. Then if you want to find the show notes, you can do that at darktowerpalaver.com. This is going to be a pretty light episode when it comes to that. Then if you want to support the show, you can find us over at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. If you want to support us, we have a number of levels there. And you can get part of our Discord server where you could chat with us at all times. We actually had some people chatting with us today as we were...
they thought we had perished.
Yes, indeed. I mean, and it was a close call. Let's be honest
It's
here.
true.
We came face to face with Pennywise a number of times. Not many people can say that.
And say that they walked away.
Yeah, indeed. And then if you want to get in contact with us, Peter can let you know how to do that.
Best way to reach us is through email. It's darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. Or our new email, it's show@darktowerpalaver.com. And then our social medias are Twitter, it's @DarkTowerPod. That's @DarkTowerPod. And then our Facebook is facebook.com/DarkTowerPalaver. Our Instagram is DarkTowerPalaver, all one word, no spaces. And then check out our merchandise. It's tpublic.com/users/DarkTowerPalaver.
Which neither of us are rocking.
I have my shirt, but I'm rocking my
I actually
brand new
forgot
shirt.
mine.
I had to wear this.
No, I will say I did not forget mine. I left it because I'm like, I'm gonna wear a Pennywise shirt.
And my wife got me this Halloween shirt. She said if I'm going to a spooky escape room, I have to wear a spooky shirt. So
Yeah, and we got a old Billy boy behind us.
Yeah, we do have a third member. Anything you want to say, Billy?
As he suddenly grows full size and
suddenly he's quite quiet and timid. I don't know what's going on.
And I will say, as we're transitioning out of the intro stuff, the first thing I will say right off the bat is once again, Billy Boy is what they picked. Is what this escape room was entirely themed on.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's got to be some connection to the films. They had some. I mean, everything was recreated from the films.
Yeah,
for entirely. So
100%. There was nothing that.
So I don't know if they were like if they had some kind of key into like the filmmakers or what, but they certainly had some. I don't know.
They had some kind of connection because there was a. So when you come out of it, because there's It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, they are two separate escape room experiences, but we did both. So we did It Chapter 1, had a little bit of a break in between, and then we did It Chapter 2. And we did it with a group each time. We didn't have a private experience, so it was the two of us. And then in the first one,
I don't think you can.
There is private ones, but you have to have at least 4 people.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So that's the reason why I didn't book that.
We'll get to it as we get into Chapter 2. But there was a point in Chapter 2 where we actually one of the actors had to break character to help because something happened unexpectedly that shouldn't have happened. And
we will get there.
Yeah.
So what do you want? You just want to kind of go through like the day, how we rolled.
Let's talk. I mean, ultimately, we could talk about the trip a little bit too.
Yeah,
we mentioned before this is our first time traveling together in 20-something years.
We've traveled out of the state of Utah together.
Yeah,
we've traveled out of the state numerous times together. We have never stayed out of the state even one day overnight together.
Yeah,
so this is our first time.
Very strange.
Yeah. And, of course, we come down to Randyland, and literally across from our hotel is the MGM Grand. And I was going to say this to you last night because we were both sitting here on this couch, and I didn't say it. From this angle, it says MGM Grand, right? But it's got, like, the cross for it. On the right side, it just says Rand. Almost like it should have a Y there that says Randy. I'm not kidding. You could look out when the lights come on later and see it. I'm just like, that did that on purpose to me, didn't it? That did.
I hope so. But yeah, so we drove down. It's about a 6-hour drive. It was I don't know, like we had a one delay that was unfortunate, but overall,
stupid construction.
It was a fun drive down, and you know, it's.
I saw 17 crows on the way down.
Yeah, Peter's counting crows.
Hey.
Which
hey, I see what you did there.
And see, I told him Randy's just trying to make sure we're safe, and we make it safely down here to good old Las Vegas, because of course we would never stand against him. We'll stand for him and stand, to hail his great leadership and all that. But
you say all this garbage, and it makes me spill my drink. Look at you.
Yeah. So then we're here at Park MGM is where we ended up staying, but been hitting up all kinds of different foods. Last night, Peter and I both tried our hands at a yard of booze.
It kicked my ass.
Yeah, I can even
you got yours right there.
Let's see, got the straw there, and that is indeed one full yard, and that's what I had.
That's how much Ted left. I left a lot more than that.
Yeah, but it was pretty rough. But then today, we of course wake up, and the main event of the whole trip.
It Chapter 1.
Yeah, so I posted some pictures, a couple pictures on the Instagram. I guess we could throw some stuff that we got up on pictures up on the show notes for this episode as well. That's actually a good thing. You can share with me what I've got, what you've got. We can also take some pictures of some of the fun swag that we were able to purchase.
So much good stuff.
As well as we got a picture.
We did
at the end. So.
We did. So Ted booked the room and everything like that. So I booked the tickets for the escape room experience, and in it, it's like if you want, you can do this $30 extra, and it gives you a actual physical photo and an arcade card. And I'm like, okay. I mean, the arcade card was $25 by itself. $5 for the photo? Absolutely. It was actually really cool because it was like a green screen. So we actually got a picture. So we'll have that in the notes because I emailed it to the show at darktowerpalaver.com.
Indeed. Why not?
So
we even use that email.
We do. So we rolled up, and I told you to go around the building so we could see all sides of it. Because on the street side, there it says, "You'll float too."
Yeah.
And then when we got around back, it had a mural of Pennywise, and then it says, "Escape it."
Yeah.
Which is the side that faces the freeway.
Yeah, and that's the name of the escape room, I believe, as well.
It's called Escape It. Yeah,
and it was kind of fun to me as we arrived. I mean, before we get into the whole thing of it, because I mean, we've been following this for over a year, haven't we? When it was first announced that was happening, and then it was like, it'll be maybe even more than a year, because there was one point when they're like, they'll open up by the end of the year. And then that end of the year came and went. We had no fucking word.
Nothing.
And then it was like early the next year that it opened, but then it said it was chapter 1 that was open and chapter 2 was not yet. So then we waited another number of months. We've been about 2 years waiting on this, or close to it at least. So it was definitely cool to pull up. Into the parking lot, because it's like, man, we've been following this in the news for that long, and then now here we finally are in Las Vegas to experience it. I will say up front, had never done an escape room before. It's a first for me.
And I've done a couple with my wife's family and everything like that. I got to tell them the story about what happened when we rolled up to it. So we're pulling up to it, and there's a light. And like I said, there's a street going past, and that's where it says "You'll float too." You can see it. You can just go look on Google Maps and look at it. And I told Ted, I said, "Hey, turn left here, and we can go around and see the whole building." And he's like, "I don't see it. Like, where is it?" I'm like, "Dude, it's right there." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about? Like, where is it?" I'm like, "Dude, Jade of the Orient, the Capitol Theater, Derry Public Township works. They make it look like real buildings. They don't make it like obvious that it's an escape room."
Did you notice right across the street was an actual Nevada Public Works building?
Yes, I did.
So
it's across the street from a Nevada Public Works building and Costco.
Yeah,
so
Costco
it's like,
on the other
it's
side.
Like it's like just like a normal thing. Like it doesn't look like, like escape room. Like we saw one when we stopped for breakfast.
Does it have a giant
morning.
red balloon?
No, it doesn't have a giant red balloon or anything like that. Like I said, the back side of it, away from that street side, said "Escape It" and had the mural and everything like that. And that's the side that faces the freeway. But the side that faces just like the everyday street, nothing. You would have never. You don't know what that is unless you actually like. What is that? Like that's weird. Even like the sign up in the parking lot where like usually like the golden arches from McDonald's and stuff like that show. We're gonna put Pennywise right up there.
Oh, it the light washes him out.
That's a bummer.
I was hoping we can. The lights. The light's unfortunate. All right, whatever. I had a thought.
Yeah, it was a good idea. I like the idea. But yeah, so it's like hidden and everything like that. So we pull up, and we got there a little bit early. Like we were supposed to be there at 12:40, and it didn't even open until 12. But we pull up, and man, just snapping. Both of us just snapping pictures and everything. And then I noticed one little detail while we were sitting there waiting. Do you want to tell them about that, or do you want me to?
Well. Yeah, I mean, even before that, somebody came out and took our names and whatever. And then as we were like coming up, and he was like writing shit down on his paper and stuff, he suddenly switched,
just flipped a switch,
into being like in character. Yeah. And I didn't catch it at first. Yeah. But he's like, "Oh, what brings you here to our God, what did he say? Like, he almost made it sound like our charitable foundation or something." And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, is this like going to a charity of some kind? And then he said something about missing kids, and I'm like, he's moved into character here. Because at first the first thing he says, like, "Oh, are you guys here? Like, what's your name on the list? You have a reservation?" And he found us. He's like, "Okay, cool." And then he like had us follow him up to the door, and then he started. And then, like I said, it was just a flip of a switch. It was very.
Well, he asked us like how we found out, like, and everything like that. I said, "Oh, we're podcasters. We're Stephen King fans, and we're going to do a podcast on this." And he's like, "Oh, that's really cool." And that's when he flipped the switch. I don't know if you heard him say this to me. He flipped because I was walking in front of you. It was him, me, and then you. Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, podcast. Hopefully you can get the word out about the missing kids."
Oh, I didn't catch
Yeah,
that.
so he said that to me, and that's why I caught on a little bit faster, because I was like, oh, he's flipping into character.
Yeah, and he was in a uniform like a public works person too.
Kind of like almost like a security guard, not like a hard hat and like a reflective vest, but like a brown tan shirt, a chambray work shirt, if you will.
It wasn't a chambray work
Not
shirt.
a chambray, but in the vein of.
Yeah, no, it definitely felt like a public worksy kind of uniform. Not like hard hats.
Not
and,
like Frankie
and stuff. No.
Well, don't worry, we'll talk about Frankie.
But yeah, then what Peter's getting to is as they're waiting out front, he caught it. I didn't. There were some children's bicycles.
And they looked abandoned,
laying there.
And we have pictures of. I took pictures of them. So
yeah, I took some pictures, and
we will definitely again go see them at darktowerpalaver.com.
Yeah, we'll have them in the show notes. But it totally went over my head. Even if I noticed them, which I don't even know if I did, it certainly didn't register as like a part of the actual like the whole experience. But yeah, then you were the one that pointed it out.
Yep.
You're just like, oh yeah, dude, like that's a cool little attention to detail thing. It's like you got these bikes sitting here, because kids came and then they didn't leave.
They didn't leave,
and
because the whole big thing that they started with when the guy switched into character was he's like, yeah, we got so many missing kids. Hopefully you can help us find them. You're the volunteers that are coming in. Hopefully you spread the word about all these missing kids, and maybe we'll find some. But we appreciate you going down in the sewers and looking for them. And we actually found out this morning, because I got an email confirmation saying, hey, don't forget, It Chapter 1 today, It Chapter 2. That's all they've ever been called. That's all I've ever seen them called online.
Yeah.
But today, when I got that email, it said It Chapter 1, Sewers. And then it said It Chapter 2, Festival. And I never seen the names before. So it's like, oh, we're going to the sewers to start off with. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely cool. I'll say, just as an overarching thing, the people there were all incredible.
Amazing.
All the people working there
awesome.
Did a wonderful job. And the people that put it together. I mean, the attention to detail, the level of effects, like everything about it was just. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I've been to a lot of haunted houses in my day, and some that were legit. Like back in the 90s, when the shittier Batman movies were coming out, there was one in Utah. It was up on State and kind of the Murray area, and that one used to actually advertise that they had a Hollywood level special effects artist.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember going the one year, and they actually had replicated the Mr. Freeze. There was a guy that was 100%.
Oh,
he
wow.
looked like Mr. Freeze, and he was in this dark room with a blue light that it was like a cone of light,
cow.
and he was stuck in that. And I just remember going to that stuff, and it was just it was right off the screen. So I mean, I guess there was part of me, maybe it was bracing for maybe this would, because I've not, and that's just all to say is that I've been to some haunted houses that are pretty fucking high end, in terms of what the money they put into whatever. And I'm like, I just don't know what this is going to be. So I guess I may have been bracing for lower expectations, but they blew my expectations out of the water, because they're just overall everything was incredible. I mean, I know we're going to get into a more nitty gritty, because that's what we do.
That's what we're here for.
But yeah,
let me just say this and jump in here, because I've done escape rooms before, and I will say that is the highest production value that I've ever seen for an escape room. All the other ones are the flimsy plastic things and stuff that you would expect if me and you went to go build an escape room, this is what we would buy because it's cheaper and it's going to be affordable and everything like that. This was high end. Some of this stuff was legit fucking stuff, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We had a water puzzle at one point.
I can only imagine just how expensive that thing cost to build.
Fully bet. I'm with you. I think that there was some backing from Warner Brothers or the studio or something. It was high end.
And the other thing that's funny is because in town, because Google is always listening.
Always.
And my ad started to say things. And so not only is there an It escape room, but there's also a Saw escape room, which sounds very uncomfortable.
No, thank you. I'm not doing a reverse bear trap.
And then there's also a Blair Witch one. And it's I think the Saw one is terrifying in a certain way, because you're just they're a game in the movie.
Yeah.
The Blair Witch one, though, I'm what does that look like? Like, are you doing it
Mhm.
outdoors? Like, but this one is just, it just feels so natural. It's like Pennywise. It's like, you mean, it's the first King property to
Yep.
make over $1 billion box office wise between chapter 1 and chapter 2. We got Welcome to Derry coming. There's just I don't know. It's been a golden age for Pennywise, and it's not even like Pennywise was obscure before that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tim Curry thing has carried Pennywise for 30-something years.
Yeah.
Or 27 years, because there was actually 27 years between
That's
the two things there. So, but yeah, it's just, I feel like it's like it's a boom period for Pennywise, and it just feels like a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Now I can see a Shining one, though, if we wanted a tangent.
Well, we were
a little
talking.
bit and talk about.
We were talking about it in the car when we were waiting to go in. Is how perfect it would be if they had a stand escape room in Las Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's made
but
for it.
but
right?
even that one, I feel like I could see that one not being as easy to like do. That one almost feels kind of like Blair Witch, where it's like, how are you gonna do that? You know,
Well,
like
it's also
with
not as popular like movie wise. It doesn't have that out there in pop culture. So.
I mean, like, Stephen King himself said, right? He's like, I'm gonna, be dead and buried, and that fucking clown's gonna keep on living.
Yeah.
Like, that will be I mean, King has done a lot of things, and a lot of the things are very iconic, but nothing is ever going to surpass the iconic element of Pennywise the Clown.
this
like,
guy right here.
Yeah, it's and that's not to talk any dirt on anything else he's done. That's just that is a fucking lightning rod.
Mm-hmm.
Twice that's been a lightning rod for pop culture.
Entire generations know Pennywise. My daughter knows Pennywise and has never seen anything.
Yeah.
And she's 10 years. She'll be 11 later this month, and so it's just like, yeah, it is one of those things that in pop culture, even if the kid hasn't seen it, they know that character.
Now, I do have to call us out a little bit.
What do we do?
We, to this day, right now in October of 2023, I think we're almost a year removed from the Simpsons
episode, and we still haven't watched it.
We have not watched it. Yes,
shame on us.
Just talking about the pop culture element of Pennywise, that brought it to mind. We talked about.
I forgot about it.
We talked about when that came out, like, oh, we'll watch it and then like talk about it, and here we are talking a big episode with it. It's still something we have not done.
Shame on us. Shame on us.
Yeah, we need to figure that out at some point here, probably soon.
So we get there, we get all signed in, signing waivers and everything like that. And we do it in the little arcade. They had two different arcades. So they had a little arcade, classic video games.
Yeah,
your all-time favorite.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was there.
One
far inferior, Street Fighter 2.
The one I grew up playing, Area 51. I used to ride over to the grocery store with $6 in quarters and try and beat the game. So that was my arcade.
There was
game.
Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, a lot of the classics.
Yeah.
But filled out the waivers. Again, people, that person at the counter wasn't overly in character, but
not a character.
But then once it began, though,
again, flip the switch like we talked about.
So so what they end up doing is they do like a safety.
It's half in character,
a safety / liability. It's basically them, like, all the shit you didn't read when you just signed your waivers. Yeah. It's the person on a screen telling you, or a person in person. Because was it? It was in screen for the second one, but the first one was a video.
It was video, it was both.
Yeah, they're both
because
videos.
The first one was they're like, come on in this room. Frankie here's going to be with you for orientation because we're volunteers going down into the sewers to look for all these lost kids. And Frankie's like, is there a supervisor? And then it was the guard guy who we were talking about earlier that flipped the switch earlier with us, was like, oh, no, there is no supervisor. You're on your own. You got this, Frankie. Just follow the manual. And then just walks out. And so the video starts.
And Frankie's like, it's my first day.
It's my first day. And the video starts, the lights go down, and this guy pops up and goes, thank you for coming to help us with, and it's like an official video.
Yeah.
But he did it in character, and he's like, just a reminder, don't touch anyone that you find.
Yeah.
No touching, no grabbing, and he goes through all those videos, watch your head, don't rip anything off the wall.
Yeah.
Kind of, almost safety stuff.
Nothing's going to be above your shoulders that you need for a clue. Because
Nothing.
I've heard that. I've never been to an escape room, but like, you can't dodge the knowledge of escape rooms, and I've heard that, like, horror stories of people that will just like destroy. Because, like, I mean, in a video game, things are either something you could play with or not.
Exactly.
But in real life, people will just try to fucking rip shit off and like and not like rip it off like steal it, but rip things that they shouldn't be. They're trying to find clues in places,
Yeah.
barking up the wrong tree. And this one was pretty good, where I would say that any room we went in, stuff that was not necessary was either glued or nailed or screwed or bolted down.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were books at times, right, or boxes would be like jammed shut where you couldn't open. So it was very clear,
Yes.
like as you're kind of going through and eliminating stuff. But I've heard over the years the horror stories of people that work at these places where it's like people will just they'll start ripping fucking panels out of the ceiling and like it's just people are ridiculous.
There was one in our escape room that I went to with my wife, and it was trying to get from. There's like 3 rooms that we had to escape from. We had to get from room A to room B to room C, and that was room C led back to the lobby. And sure enough, we were barking up the wrong tree, and we ripped a book.
Yeah.
Like someone was like, "No, look, the book opens." And they're like,
and they told people not to climb on things
yeah,
too.
no climbing.
Because there was one point we're in a room that had a dumpster.
And they're like, "Are we supposed to get in the dumpster?" And then someone.
No, I told them.
Oh, you told them.
Yeah,
that was you.
'cause
I heard a voice say it. I didn't
Yeah,
realize it was you.
They had like
it was all dark.
It had one of the bars that like keep the lids from opening, but the bar moved easily. So I'm like, okay, open it up. Nothing to really see. Like, should we climb in there? I'm like, no. They said don't climb on anything. Like just.
And they're like the guy was like about ready to jump in, and you're like, no.
Yeah, it's like no. They said don't.
But
jump
we're
into
getting
anything.
a little bit ahead of ourselves. Should we? We're not going to like go through and say like room by room.
No. I mean,
we don't want to spoil it if anyone decides to come down and do it.
I think that we could talk about some else, but certainly not like how to solve it.
No, not how to solve it, dude. But I guess we could talk about like the scenes. I guess we could say.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So I got to say this because I feel really kind of special. When we walked in for the safety briefing and everything like that, they told us to have a chair, and the TV was on the wall here. So I walked down to the edge, the last chair, and I noticed there's an ID card sitting on the chair. And so I pick it up, and I'm like, okay. And so I sit down, and I don't say anything because I don't know if we're started yet, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so they go through the safety thing, and she's like, Frankie, remember, it's her first day. She's like, okay, well, it says here that I'm supposed to read you this. We have 1 or 40 kids somewhere in there. I don't. How have we lost track? And she's like all in character, like shocked like that. And she's like, okay, well, we're supposed to go through here, but I've always had a supervisor, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, I have a card. It says Stuart Redman.
Yeah.
And it says water. She's like, oh, so you're the supervisor. Okay, Stu, come on. She called me Stu the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And so we walk
Which
in.
is also a great reference to the wrong book, but
and then
Redman.
she also said the other thing about what was missing. What else was missing aside from kids?
Oh yeah, a cat
named
Churchill.
Winston Churchill. And who was missing this cat, Tad?
Lewis Creed.
Oh, Pet Cemetery. There were so many Easter eggs for Stephen King
there
fans.
was a shit ton. Yeah,
there were so many.
This wasn't just like these people just poured over it chapter 1 and chapter 2
Nope.
and pulled as much as they could. There was a lot of Stephen King references throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
At one point we were in a meat meat room.
It was it's the meat packing because in it chapter 1 or chapter 2 in the movies Mike's parents are sheep farmers, not just farmers, so ranchers, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we were in like the slaughter portion and the meat getting packaged. So what did you see?
So on the board there's a number of things. I wish I would have been able to like spend more time looking at them.
Yeah.
But I did see done.
And of course we weren't allowed to take pictures once we got in.
Oh yeah, that's the main thing. They were very clear about that, which I get, right? Like
I get it. You don't
want
want someone recording like how to go through it and everything like that.
Yeah.
I did sneak a picture of that ID card though.
Yeah, I guess we were technically inside at that point.
That's why I was like quickly. I just like, and Frankie saw me do it. I just took a picture of it. And I'm just like, and I looked up, and then it's like, then the security videos are like, absolutely no recording devices, and I'm like, I kind of went because she sat down she pulled her chair up and sat down next to me, and I kind of went, and she just shook her head at me like, you're fine.
But
what was on the board?
On the board there was Dunning.
Mm-hmm.
Which is 11/22/63 reference
in Derry.
Now, Secondhand Rose, where is that from? Because that was on there too.
Secondhand Clothes is in It.
Is it in It? Okay,
it is in It. It's in 1985 when Bill's talking to the kid.
Is that where the bike's at?
I don't know if it's necessarily where the bike's at. It might be. I think you're right. I think it might be.
Okay, because I knew it was familiar. There was also the Hanlon meet.
That's where we
whatever.
were.
That was one of the numbers up there too. So there was a couple. There's and I really appreciated the Dunning one because Dunning is not from the It book, but he's in Derry.
He is in Derry.
That's that. So that one felt a little bit more like. That felt like a really good one because again, this isn't just because there's never a name Dunning in the It books.
No.
So again, bravo to the people that put this thing together because there was a lot of really cool references for King fans.
So we lost Frankie at that point. We go through the first room, we get into the second tunnel area, we get through that, and then right as we're going through there, we lost Frankie, and that one is the alleyway leading to it's where Bev like runs from her dad and everything like that. That was really cool to see. I will say I liked that one a lot.
Yeah. There's a number of scenes. I wonder, if you can keep them all straight. That's good because I'm somewhat hazy. Because again, I'm also trying to like learn the idea of escape rooms for the first time. So, and I'm also not as much of an It aficionado as you are.
It was. So we did that one. We did it was the after the alleyway, it was the meat packing. After the meat packing, it was Bill's dad's garage.
Yeah.
Which was really cool to see that.
Yeah.
Because it was so one of the first things that I do when I get into escape room, like when you move rooms, it's okay, what are we looking for?
Yeah.
And I called it out every time. I don't know if you caught that. I was like, okay, well, is there a lock? Anyone see a lock? Anyone see like something?
A keypad.
A keypad.
Or something.
We ended up needing a keypad a couple times throughout them. And in that one, we're like, there's nothing. There's no locks or anything like that. And then this lady that we were with, she just happened to turn something over by me, and I saw water. And I'm like, why would there be water? They would not do water unless it was needed. And then I followed the hose. And it's like, because Bill's dad works for Derry's.
The
sewers and everything like that. Public Town Works and everything.
Yeah, because he starts talking about how his dad told him that kids can get lost there and they'd never get found.
Yep. Like the blueprints and everything like that, they get them from Bill's dad in the book. I think it's in the movie too.
Yeah.
And everything, like they lay it out in the garage. And then she has the water and it pulls up a key. And I'm like, oh, the key, that's what we need. We found out that there was a toolbox. And so it was really cool just to have that one, just like stumble onto that one. And then you have to tell me more about that room because you were on the other side and I was yelling instructions to your group about where to go. What was that thing with you had to move something on it?
Where at?
In the garage.
In the garage.
Things were lighting up as you moved it. What was that? Just like a map
of
like the tunnels?
there was like a map of the tunnels and there was lights on there and there was a little thing you'd move and we were like using your directions, but like and I don't want to get into like spoilery of whatever, but ultimately what it came down to is you had like alphanumeric stuff. But on our side, it was like real names. It was like, tunnel B.
TB.
TB, you said, but on our side, it was tunnel B. But it was like a maze, and like your instructions from the other side was like, but it wasn't immediately clear. And it was like, if you went the wrong way at one point, it reset the whole thing. So you had to go back and start over.
Oh, so you had to like trace through it.
Trace through the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that was because I was like I said, I was clear across the garage. So that was one of those times where me and you were split up.
Yeah.
Which happened occasionally. I tend to try to stick close to you because, we're there together and everything like that. But we went through with a group of, there was the two girls, there was the two of us, there was the group of three, and then the group of two. And then another group of two. So we had a bigger group in It Chapter 1 than in the It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
And the group of three actually came with us into It Chapter 2 and did it with us as well.
Yeah.
So we get through that one, which is the garage, and then we go to that really bad one.
The garage too. The first thing I noticed when we walked in is there was the projector.
Oh yeah, they had the projector up, and that was actually the reward is that we had the movie playing.
Yeah, so that was cool because I'm just
cool.
like, that is one of the most iconic scenes of that first movie.
Yes.
Right? Like, I mean, they showed it in the trailers, but like to me, that's one of the scenes. It's like,
yes,
fuck yeah, dude.
So we get through that one, and then we get into the tunnels again.
And all throughout, there's also Pennywise.
Oh,
popping
popping
up.
in and out, jumping, reaching out and almost grabbing people.
I ended up constantly at the back of the groups, and toward the end of the first one and into the second one, I was really trying to not be, because there's often times that Pennywise would come from behind, and he's not going to scare me.
No.
Like, I'm a hardened veteran here.
He got me once in chapter 2.
I've been watching horror movies for 33 of my 38 years.
Yeah.
So there's like, and I've gone to haunted houses so much, and I don't say that to me like, oh, I'm this badass. No, it's just I kind of get how it works, and I'm very observant. So it's just like there's a few times. There's one point we were in like a long like pipe type like sewer pipe type sewer thing, and I was at the tail end, and as we left the room we were leaving, I don't remember what room it was. I look back and a door opens and Pennywise comes creeping, and I just like.
After you, sir.
Go ahead.
Proceed.
The whole group's there, and I just smile, give a thumbs up, because it's just like, you're not going to scare me, but there's other people you will.
Yes.
So.
And there was a couple girls that were with us. Oh, my God. Every time the lights went out, anytime there was a noise, and they had some legit smoke machines, dude.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, their highest bill outside of the production of the whole thing is probably their smoke bill.
Oh, my gosh. there was times where, like in the garage when the projector was playing, when it's supposed to be him like bursting out and everything like that, there was a jump scare for me because I was standing next to those girls and the smoke goes off and they start screaming. I'm just like, oh, God, not that I was scared. It's that someone screamed next to me.
Yeah.
So we get through the garage, and after the garage was another tunnel, and that's one of the tunnels where we got another cast member. So we're transitioning cast members, which is really kind of cool because you keep them with that section. So they go back and do the next.
And some
group
of them
that's
even got
through.
grabbed by Pennywise.
All of them did.
Well, some of them just wandered
really?
away. Yeah.
I saw the meatpacking guy get grabbed. I saw Frankie get grabbed. I saw
there was one too where like the door closed and like cut us off from them. So you just don't you like whatever. But that was cool. It did move through, and all of them were great. Again,
all of the sets were like legit.
Well, no, the people.
Oh, the people were amazing. Yeah,
like because that's the other thing is I'm like, you know what? I mean, haunted houses, like that's one thing, but it's like haunted houses are temporary. Like if this is like a long-standing thing, and it's still kind of new, but it's like if these people are doing this every day, day in and day out, like
boring.
Yeah, like do you get bored with it?
Yeah.
Or do you actually
try? I think they try something new a little bit every time. I worked at a haunted house for a little bit.
Oh, and that's there's two dreams I had as a young kid that I never was able to achieve: working at a movie theater and working at a haunted house.
Tad, you could work at a haunted house
as a wee lad, man. Those are the two things where I'm like, I love movies so much and I love haunted houses, but those are the two of the things. I've done a lot of stuff that I've wanted to do as I've grown up. You know, shit you want to do as a kid, bucket list type things. But those are the two I never was able to do.
Yeah.
But again, haunted houses though, like you're doing it for like, especially when we were younger, a month, maybe a month and a week. But nowadays it's about 2 months.
Yeah.
But still, so it's like you're cramming all that in. I feel that would keep it fresh. But these people, for all we know, they're doing it 365. I mean, the reason we wanted to jump on this though is I don't know how long it'll last. I hope it's there. I hope it's a permanent thing. I really do. But I don't know. I mean, shit, nothing lasts in this fucking town, man.
No, it's Vegas, man.
Yeah, as I was traveling Peter around and showing him stuff, like it's a marvel to me because like I came here in the mid '90s as a kid because that's when they were pushing for really family friendly stuff. I always think it's funny because I'm always like, I wonder if people like think of my parents in a certain way, like, oh, you're bringing your kids to Vegas, even if they're trying to be family friendly. But the funny thing is, neither of my parents are gamblers.
No.
So it isn't like, one of the two's a degenerate gambler or neither of them are like heavy drink. So it's like the general things you would associate with like maybe a person that's not a great parent doing Vegas.
Yeah.
They weren't that. Like my dad's super into like tourism-y type stuff. So it's always like, oh,
sightseeing.
Like let's go to all this touristy shit and stuff. But then it's like going a few times in my younger life and then going here, it's like, dude, like it's changes so much. Like there's almost nothing left that was there when I was in here in 94. So that just saying that to say that like I hope it lasts. I hope it's a permanent fixture here.
Yeah.
But like nothing lasts in this town, man.
No.
Nothing does. So I really hope that I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we jumped on it now because I would hate to a year from now when like, oh, they're closing it down. That would be that'd be a heartbreaker. But no, that's an aside, of course.
No,
and a
tangent.
Dark tangent palaver.
Dark tangent palaver. That's right. So we're getting close to the end of It Chapter 1. There was a couple more after that, but I want to stop here for a second because This one was my favorite.
What?
The outside of Nebold Street.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely was my favorite.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was amazing.
And I think that's the thing is like, let's just even back up and just say that everything we've kind of gone through here, I think we talked a little bit about the production values.
Yeah.
But I want to state it again. Like, there is never a point when I'm like, oh, this is kind of a cute little mock-up. Like, no, these things all were fucking legit, man.
Yeah.
Like, there was a huge footprint, and it never felt cheap. I mean, the only thing that would, like, take you out of it is when you're searching for clues, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this book's got two fucking, like, bolts or
Yes.
screws
Yes.
holding it down. But, like, I mean, that, again, I understand that you've got to do that, otherwise people are going to start chasing through books that don't fucking matter.
Exactly.
But the production values, even up before we get to what you're talking about, just absolutely fucking incredible, man. Like,
Phenomenal. We walked through a sewer. It was the first sewer we went through. So we came in, went through a command room where the Stuart Redman ID played a part. Had a login password on it that I had to do like 7 times.
Yeah.
And you want to know why I kept failing it? The goddamn keyboard stuck.
Oh yeah.
So,
I thought you were just doing like geeky stuff, like 19 or
no, it had the
rows or-
login on it, and it,
Oh.
and it had a. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if I showed it to you. Like if you read it, it had a date on there, and I can't. My phone's over there. I can't. But I think it said something like 1985. Something 1985, and which I think
which would be the
the
first
year,
the
first cycle
outbreak.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Because
Because this is all movie based,
yes.
so
so I'm like, oh, okay.
I will say in the lobby too, where the arcade you talked about.
Yeah.
I looked it up because there was some movie posters, and they didn't really like jive with me. Like
They didn't.
You got mail and stuff. So I
Yep.
actually looked it up. Like, were those 27 years ago this year, and maybe they changed them out yearly, and it wasn't. Like
No,
there was a Freddy 5, I think, was one of the
Yes.
posters. So there, I mean,
and the Avengers, not the Marvel Avengers,
Sean Connery,
the Sean Connery
Yeah,
Avengers.
but I looked it up because as a geek, I'm like, I wonder if it's 20s. Like, I wonder,
What if that's
I
what
wonder if
they're
every
doing?
year they order new posters that were 27 years
Yeah.
ago. But no, they didn't.
No, they just had in the poster. I don't know if you noticed, but the You Got Mail one didn't fit like the holder and everything.
yeah.
But-
It worked though because
Yeah.
I mean all of them are older stuff, so it kind of puts you in that vibe of
Yes.
like, because that's I guess the other thing too is, well, I guess that room is for both of them, but because that's the other thing too is the thing is like it chapter 1 puts you more in the first movie, which
Yeah.
I guess kind of makes sense, but it's like, so it's all kid stuff, and then the
Mhm.
other one it's all portrayed. Chapter 2 is all portrayed like, oh, you're back 27 years later.
It's your high school reunion.
It's this reunion and stuff. So it kind of plays off the like, so that worked out pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Nebold Street.
But so, well, real fast, we were like, we got through this little like command sewer where you're like putting in passwords and there's videos showing like the flooding of the sewer,
Yeah.
which was obviously pre-recorded.
Yeah.
That obviously wasn't the location that we were in. There was no big sound of water rushing. It was just on camera.
Somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the actor was screaming they could see a kid that just got drowned.
yeah.
and,
Oh,
stuff.
and then did you hear the
And
cat?
Yeah. And the
and
cat.
everything. And I'm like,
and before it flooded too, nobody else saw it because your back was turned to it. One of the screens you saw a balloon float up.
Yeah,
float up thing.
you
and,
did say
and I
that.
said, "There's a balloon," and right about the time you turned it, it went just off screen.
oh, I wish I would have seen
But
that.
it was just, it looked
Yeah.
like a sewer hall or a
Yeah.
sewer pipe, whatever, and a balloon just like creeped through unnaturally, right? Like a balloon doesn't move that way.
No, it doesn't. It's like the one where it's bend where it's not going with the wind
Yeah. Yeah.
and everything. But we get out of that room and we go into a sewer, and Tad, the floor was wet.
Yeah.
It's like they did it on purpose. Like they went through before each group and just like hosed it down or something like that.
Yeah.
It's dripping.
Yeah.
Like I got some down the back of my shirt and everything like that, and I'm like,
yeah.
that is so well done.
The production values.
Yeah.
And Nebold Street, the reason I wanted to step back and talk about the production
Yeah.
values of everything is because when we went to Nebold Street, like it was damn near breathtaking. Like it was
it
just,
took my breath away.
it's like I was in the fucking movie. Like, and yes, you're indoors, you're inside,
Yeah.
of it, but it felt
like you were outside at night.
It felt outside. I mean, it was dirt on the ground. Like it was just,
Mhm.
it's hard to.
There was a bike leaning against the fence.
Yeah, it's hard to credit just how good it is without seeing it. But it was just like I said, breathtaking. And I'm not, you know me, I'm not hyperbolic to just say breathtaking about everything. Like no, I was legit. I was just like, holy shit! Like, and I almost feel like I've slightly been ruined. Because there's part of me, it's like, I kind of like escape rooms. But I feel like now...
It's not going to be the same, Todd.
I'm going to go to these other escape rooms.
Go to any of those ones up in Utah. It's not the same.
In Utah, it's just going to be like, what the fuck is this?
This isn't it.
Well, not even that I would expect it to be it, but it's just like the level of the challenges, too, were
isn't good.
Were absolutely incrable. I mean, some of the puzzles, there was one point that someone had to, like, crawl down inside of, like, something that looked like it was just part of the set. Honestly, when they found the door and stuff, I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to crawl in there, but then you were, and it was like, there was just some certain aspects of it where it was like, which is good because it's almost just like, I'm in an escape room. There's no way they're gonna have you like crawl under things, but then there was times that they did, so it was just like that was cool because it caught you off guard. You're like, no, that shouldn't be a thing.
They did that a couple times, and they only did it in chapter 1 because you have a kid.
Yeah,
then a kid crawls through spaces like that and everything. But we get to Nebel Street, and right as we go in, Pennywise is just coming right behind us. Man, so many people screamed. That I will admit, because he's marching from across this the yard towards us, and it's me and you, the last ones in, and you go past me, and he's still coming. I'm like, oh fuck! Like I slammed the door in his face. I'm like, oh fuck, man, he's coming for me. That's the really the number one time that Pennywise really got me is going into Nebolt Street. Like, he got me so bad right there.
And the Pennywise actor, let's give that person credit, too.
Oh, he came out of nowhere.
And he was acting it up really well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just did a great job performance-wise.
Yeah.
Portraying the villain coming after you.
Absolutely. And then we go into Nebolt Street. There's a couple rooms in Nebolt Street that are really cool. And then, so when we came into the sewer, we had to rescue someone, and when we rescued them, the actor, they led us to Nebolt Street and through Nebolt Street through to the end. She got some revenge on one of our
I was behind. I didn't hear any of that happened.
You didn't hear anything that happened?
No,
okay.
I think I was still down in the pipe behind you guys.
We come into a sewer, and this is after the garage. We come into a sewer, and she's locked behind a gate. And she walks up. One of the guys walks up, and he's a 18 to 23-year-old, somewhere in there kind of guy. She says something. He says something. She says something snarky, and he goes, "I'm not going to help you then." and so we finally get into Nebolt Street, and when we get into Nebolt Street, we end up in the doll room.
Oh yeah,
that was a really cool puzzle there with the. We actually had to interact with the dolls, which is creepy enough because you're not supposed to touch that kind of stuff
right
normally.
There, Hayden and your wife.
Oh my gosh, dude!
In the whole thing, but in that room, and again, it is really really hard to credit it with words like the doll room or there is the point when the three doors. Very scary, not scary at all. Or like it just, and it's those three doors just like from the movie, and it's just like, it was like you were in the fucking movie. Like
it felt like it
really was.
And of course, what did you say when we pulled up to not very scary, scary, and very scary?
I mean, very scary is the way to go, right?
And guess what? That was the way to go.
It was the right one.
But she,
and they did have a disemboweled Finn Wolfhard chopped in half behind the one door. So that was kind of an interesting thing. But the clown doll room was pretty awesome. A lot of fun clowns.
So the guy who mouthed off to her had to get put into a coffin.
Because there's the coffin in the scene in the movie too.
Mm-hmm. And so he went into the coffin, and then all of a sudden the door unlocked, and we're like, okay, bye. And we just left, and then he was in the next room with us.
Well, he was in the next room that opened it for us. He
went around and opened it for us?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He going into the coffin. I don't know what all that looked like from his end, but then I was at the back of the room when it opened, and he was the one that opened the door for us. So.
And so that room was our last room, actually. We actually had to solve one more puzzle there. And then we came out into the lobby, which is another arcade, which is where I think I already mentioned
and gift shop.
Oh,
Yeah, my wallet's hurting a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, and you went, dude. You went ham. You bought way more than me, and I love it. So I think it's just
well,
the fact
I had to have the whole set. They had coffee mugs.
they had coffee mugs,
and they had like one that was Jade of the Orient, one that was
Canal Days.
Canal Days. They had,
they had
one that said I Heart Dairy.
Yep.
And then they had one that was just straight It Escape Room, and it had Pennywise on the other. So there's like 4 of them, and I'm like, I gotta have all 4.
And he bought all 4.
And I got, shot glass, but I'm like, well, I can't only have 1 shot glass. So I got 2 shot glasses. There was I've got all kinds of shit.
I got a shot glass. I got a coffee mug.
I got
and
the funny thing is I've been talking about, because you all know when I'm recording, behind me on my movie shelf, I've got the Tim Pennywise. I've had him there for a while, right in front of him is the Stephen King Funko Pop, and then the Caw symbol that I designed and 3D printed. But I've been talking about I wanted to get a Billy Boy to go with my Tim, and so lo and behold, they've got him. So
I like the little sales pitch the guy gave you too. Hey, no shipping and handling or tax on that. So
yeah.
There you go.
It is it is a wonderful land of no taxes.
I honestly had not noticed that until he said that, and then I paid attention when I checked out buying all my gifts today. I'm like, oh, there is no tax. Hey, look at that. All right.
Yeah, indeed.
But so we hit this room, and then we look over, and Dairy Museum. What's that? We go walking over, and we walk in, and there's this glass case.
I have pictures.
And we have pictures of all of this.
So it'll be on the show notes.
And so we start reading like the little placards, and it's like photos of the Losers Club and the skateboard, and
one is remembrance for Richie Tozier with
in loving
what's his
memory,
name?
like his Bill Hader.
Bill Hader, yeah.
It's like his obituary and everything like that. And then there was the Ritual of Chud basket.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Dad, are these real fucking props? And he's like, man, kind of looks that way. We turn around and there's 7 bikes.
And
then the 3 doors.
And then the 3 doors.
And I'm like,
not scary.
Man, these plaques and everything like that.
What is it? Not scary at all?
Not scary at all.
Scary?
Pretty scary. Very scary, I think is what it is.
But, yeah, then you ended up going and asking.
And I'm like...
And I will say, the pessimist in me, I was like, I'm not going to I'm not going to piss on your Cheerios. I'm like, these aren't going to be real fucking props, man.
I'm like, I don't think these are real props.
Like,
but then I walked out.
Replicas of the props, certainly.
Yeah.
But
I thought maybe like they'd been used or were going to be used, and then they decided not to use them.
Yeah.
And so they just had them on display and like, hey, cool, check out this skateboard that belonged to a kid, and they decided not to use it in the... Yeah. But I stepped out, and I looked, and they had a full fucking display, and it says, Pennywise costume worn by Bill Skarsgård in the films. And I went, I think these are real fucking props. So I walked over, and I asked the guy who's like the cashier and everything like that, and he goes, oh, yeah, those are actual props from It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
that's
those are the doors.
He's like, those are the doors. Those are the bikes that the losers rode. The high host, like Silver was there and everything. And then I'm just like,
yeah, those that
was that was worth the price of admission just to see those movie props.
Yeah.
They had Skarsgård's full Pennywise. It was like the dirty and tattered and worn one at the end. I think it's the end of chapter 1 where he's like going down. He's like defeated and everything like that. And I'm just like,
I'm going to tell you too, is I'm rewatching those movies. I've been
I'm craving them.
I've been like wanting to rewatch them for like at least a year or so now, because like I haven't watched. I think I rewatched 1 in 2019 when 2 was coming out, and I don't think I think I did rewatch 2 at least once when it came out on disc. But outside of that, it's probably been a couple of years. So, and I've reread it in that intervening time. But walking out in my head, I'm like, I
gotta watch this.
Whether it's this weekend or next. Or
you're gonna be full Leonardo DiCaprio throughout the movie.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like,
I
was there.
I was
there.
They're such great movies, man.
Yeah.
But I will just say, like, 10 out of 10 for chapter 1. I mean,
so
I know
good.
we're talking about the lobby and our waiting between the 2 chapters, but like chapter 1 was an absolute fucking banger. And like I said, just top to bottom, the I don't know, the details were incredible.
Yeah.
The props, the actors, everything about it was absolutely incredible. And we'll have final thoughts after we talk about chapter 2, but like, oh man.
But so real fast, getting back, I got kind of sidetracked on a tangent there. Dark tangent palaver. But the last actress, the one who was trapped behind the bars and had that exchange with that guy, she put him in the coffin, and then as soon as we got out, she turned around and she smiled at him, and she's like, man, as soon as you mouthed off to me, I knew you were the one going in the coffin.
And that's the other thing too, is once you left, they break character and like, do you have any questions about anything that happened? Do you know, like whatever? Because there was one too that we were working on. I think it was the one with the light switch.
Yeah.
I think everyone thought we got it, but I actually think it does time out.
No, we did not get it.
Yeah,
because absolutely.
But there was somebody working on it right when it's like triggered the thing that where you would have because ultimately it is timed. So there comes a point when they will either chime in to basically tell you what you need to do.
Yeah.
At one point there was like you needed a code, and once you hit a certain point, like literally a black light came on, and the code was like fucking written out completely rather than because again, they're running a business. They got to get people through because there's other groups behind you.
The difference between this one than other escape rooms. So the other escape rooms that I've done are you're locked. Like I said, I had to go from room A to room B to room C, and C is the exit. In this one, you're going through a haunted house while doing escape rooms. It is a unique experience. I will warn you about that. What you have in normal escape rooms, you have a time limit.
Yeah.
You'll be put into a room and you'll be like, all right, you guys have to get out in an hour.
Yeah.
And lock you in and everything. And then if the hour passes and you don't, you literally get the picture and like you get your group together and it's like, you did not succeed. And it's like a participation
you
trophy.
Failed.
Yeah. Died, kind of thing. So this was a bit different, and there was actually someone in our second group who complained a little bit. He's like, man, I felt like you guys were rushing us a little bit. Like we were almost there, and then it's like they explained to him, and I understood exactly where they were coming from. They're like, we have a certain amount of time dedicated per room.
Yeah, because like when we were starting, we were at 12:40, and I think there was a group at 12:30. So it's like
you got to move.
Yeah, you got to move it, and like I don't know how there's only a 10-minute gap because they must I don't know. Unless 10 minutes is the limit for the first room, so by the time the next group's going to come in, the other group's at least into the next. But either way,
I heard other groups a couple times.
Yeah, and there's sometimes you can hear some stuff through the walls and stuff. But you know what though? At the same time, like nowadays, like that's why I stopped going to haunted houses. Because it got to the point where they got so many people and they've got to get them through. There's been times like I've had whole haunted houses ruined because it's like there's a group that's 20 feet ahead of me. So it's like whatever scare happens, they get scared. It's like, okay, well, that's
how it's scary now.
Yeah,
I know there's a guy behind there in a Freddy Krueger mask is going to pop out. Oh, look, there he is. Or he doesn't even do it. That was my experience the last time I did it.
That happened.
Is that he's like,
which
I just got them and all these people saw, so I'm going to wait till they go.
I appreciate that though. I'd rather not. I'd rather them just
don't waste your effort.
Yeah. But ultimately, I will say this didn't feel as because I know that guy was complaining on chapter 2, but I don't think that it was really. I felt there's some times where they started to give you more blatant pointers, but I think it was fine because like I've been in haunted houses where I felt way more rushed than this.
Yes.
I didn't really feel rushed at all. And then like honestly, usually by the time they got more overt about their whatever, or like in the case of the light switch one, like it completely like the person was working on it. We kind of knew what we had to do, but they just weren't getting the timing right. And eventually,
and that's what she said afterwards, is that we weren't getting the timing
It
right.
eventually triggered, and like I think that some people perceived that they finally got it right. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, that just timed out. Like, that was failed. But you can't just sit there and get stuck. So it's like it moved us on. But the person was so actively working on it. I'm like, I bet you some people misinterpreted that as a success.
Oh yeah, absolutely they did. So we get out of it chapter 1, take a little bit of a break, look a little bit at some of the merchandise, but then they're like, okay, chapter 2, let's go. We found out those 3 people were going with us. We go back into the waiting room there by the little arcade, not the big arcade, and the souvenir shop. And so we go into the little arcade, do a waiver again, the exact same waiver for chapter 2 again.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, well, you need name tags. You're here for your 20. She flipped a switch. The chapter 1 people who were doing the waivers never flipped a switch. They're like, okay, follow this gentleman. He'll get you started on your escape room experience. I think is what she said to one of the people behind us. And I'm like, oh, okay. But this time she's like, oh, you guys are back for your 27-year reunion.
Yeah.
We'll come right through here. The Jade of the audience on the other side. And Ash is waiting for you. We walk through the door, and Ash is like, hey, hi, guys, do you remember me? Oh, Peter, you look so good and everything. Like, Dad, it's good to see you, buddy. And then one of the three that was with us was like, you were my bully. And she's like, yeah, but you kind of deserved it. And I'm just like, oh, I love her playing it up like that. It was good.
Yeah.
Go through the instruction video, and then the first room that we're solving is Jade of the Orient.
Jade of the Orient,
So-
yeah. I was looking for fortune cookies with eyeballs.
Did you see that the combo for the lock for that one came out of a fortune cookie?
No, I missed that.
Yeah,
but-
it came out of a fortune cookie, and then there was another piece of paper that came out of another fortune cookie, and it was not part of the solution. And I was like, what did that fortune cookie thing say? Does that help with the lock? He goes, no, it just says that Stu couldn't make it. Oh, no, Stu couldn't cut it. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Stu couldn't cut it.
Oh,
Cut
and,
it.
and then that's the other thing too.
No,
is that
Stanley. Stan, not Stu. Yeah, Stanley, not Stu.
The safety video though was also like it literally played like a Skype ringtone, and
Yeah.
it was a dude like, "Oh, welcome, I couldn't make it and stuff," and the actor was playing it up. It's, "Oh yeah, so and so you
It
like."
was his idea.
Yeah.
He set this up, and he's not going to be here.
He's not going to be here, just calling in from Skype to tell us all whatever.
His name
so.
was Jason.
Yeah.
So we had Jason, Ash, and then there was us, a group of three, and then a mother-son combo.
Yeah, so we had a
Smaller group.
couple mishaps
Yes.
in chapter 2.
Yes, we're going to get there.
So, well, no, the first one was in that room.
Was it?
Yeah, like the
lock.
the lock. It was this weird thing with these Chinese symbols, and it didn't. They just spun. So
Freely.
you had to basically get a thing. And I credit them. They were trying, and then eventually got to a point where it was like, this isn't working. And I saw her like subtly like getting like, this
lock
box isn't working. And then she was like telling me what I needed to do, but she was like, "Oh, you gotta like turn it." And I started to turn it, and she's like, "Oh no, I think you're breaking it." I'm just like, "You just told me
You
to
just
turn
told
it."
me to turn. I heard her say that.
But
so.
yeah, so that whatever, but that finally got resolved. But like there was one a little bit later too. But I was whatever.
The
I
one
mean,
later was just pure accident. Pure.
Yeah.
It was not a mess up on our part. I talked to the actor afterwards, and no, it was a mess up on their part. So we'll get there.
yeah, we'll get there for sure.
So we go through the Jade of the Orient, and then I'm trying to remember chapter 2. I remember chapter 1 pretty well. What was after?
Where was the locker room?
That was the next, was it?
I don't know, but we did have a locker room.
We did have a locker room, and there was a couple Easter eggs in there that you told me about as
Yeah.
we walked out.
So the locker room, there was
a bunch of lockers.
a lot-
It wasn't a locker room.
or no,
it was a hallway.
A hallway, yeah, that's true.
Like a high
That's
school
true.
hallway, because
A
there
high-
was a trophy case too.
But I'm calling it the locker room because it was a room full of lockers.
it literally
for
had like
us, but,
literally had like 25 or 30 lockers. in
but it was replicating the halls of a high school basically. But then as you open it, there was yearbooks, and some of the yearbooks were open, some of them weren't. And in the open yearbooks, I saw Nadine Cross.
Mm-hmm.
I saw I'm blanking now.
Carrie White.
Carrie White.
That was the one you told me about.
Carrie White, Nadine Cross. It was just like just random people's pictures, but there was.
I bet you if we had time to go through and
More
look at those
time,
yearbooks,
yeah.
I bet you there were going to be Judd or
there
someone
there
like
would have
that.
been some interesting stuff for sure. Those
That had one of my favorite moments in the entire escape room. Do you remember what happened in that room? So we had to open up the lockers and the yearbooks and everything like that. Then the final way of getting out, we had to open up a locker with a special combo on it. We got that open, and we opened it up, and there is just a button.
Oh yeah.
And what did you say?
Push the fucking button.
And I didn't fucking hesitate. Did I hesitate for a goddamn
No.
nanosecond? Did I?
No, I mean,
I'm like, let's go.
I don't
Push
even.
that
I don't even
button.
care if it looks like a sinister button, which it actually did.
It looked very sinister.
Gotta push the damn button.
I
Like,
pushed the button, and all hell broke loose. And then, because then after the locker room, we ended up
Well,
in
the locker room too. I got to give him credit. There was one locker that finally opened, and there was a balloon that got blown up to the point where everyone started to cringe, and it did explode. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how many balloons did they go through?
Did you see what
Did they just have like a pallet of red balloons? In there?
Did you see what the what was on the balloon?
No, it was.
I Heart Dairy.
Oh, okay.
I think it was you were on the one side, I was on the other side.
Yeah.
And I think it got turned so it was facing me
Oh yeah.
as it kind of came out of the locker. But one of the girls that we were with was like searching that locker, seeing if there was anything else inside, and there was a pair of gym shoes on the top. Inside the gym shoes were just probably 100 of those balloons.
Oh.
Just it's stuffed inside the shoe, so as soon as we're out, they're gonna pull one out and put it back on the little thing that blew it up.
But I'm just in my head. I'm like, if they're blowing a balloon up for every fucking one, like
Every single
they've
one.
got to go through. I mean, probably 20-something balloons a day, maybe.
At least,
I mean, so it's like times that by 7, times that by 31. Like it just they've got the market cornered on red balloons.
Red balloons that say "I Heart Dairy" on it and everything.
Indeed.
And then the next room.
I will say, one of my biggest like failures in life was it wasn't until midway through both movies coming out that I had the idea of getting some red balloons, getting them inflated, and going and tying to random cars at the movie theaters.
You told me about that.
I always thought I've thought about it, but every time I thought about it, I was fucking late on it. I'm like, no, that's the thing you got to do opening weekend because it's like opening weekend on a movie like it that's going to do successful. Well, the first one nobody knew, but it did. So by the time Chapter 2 came out, I should have had it planned out where it was like buy a pack of 200 red balloons,
go get them filled with helium,
go get them filled. My car's gonna be full of red balloons. Just go to a fucking movie theater, random cars, because like statistically the odds are high that most cars are probably,
or even if they're not seeing it, that's even creepier because they didn't go see that movie. They went and saw some kids movie, and they come out and they have a balloon which traumatizes kids, and you're all about that.
Oh, dude, my favorite thing in the world is when they play the wrong movie when they're supposed to play like kids movies,
and it starts hard.
Yeah, because every horror movie, that first scene is a fucking banger of a scene, and like there was one where it was supposed to be Minions or something, and they played like The Conjuring. Dude, that brings so much warmth to my heart.
Yeah.
Just traumatize the hell out of these children.
Hashtag Tad is terrible for traumatizing children. That's what he's all about.
Man. No, that's it's a glorious.
So
thing,
speaking of traumatizing people, I'm a little bummed for what happened in the next room. So we walk in and it's adult Bev's encounter with Pennywise room, the house where it's my father.
Yeah, what's her name?
I do not, Mrs. Gray.
Well,
Bob Gray's my father.
No, yeah, she has a different name though.
I don't remember her name.
Bev calls her the name, right?
Yeah.
Before the reveal, and it's got a name because she's in the book. Because it wasn't not that I completely forgot that scene, but it had been a while since I read it. So after seeing the movie in 19, next time I reread the book, I'm like, oh shit, this is actually in the book.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
This isn't just created.
It's so much worse in the book.
Yeah,
but so
too bad we don't have a live chat. God damn. And the thing is, so much of Vegas is like so catered to younger people now. How do you not have like high-end internet on your thing? Like, okay, look at like the money that sports teams have put into where like, they've got, Wi-Fi at most of these modern stadiums, and you could sustain, decent Wi-Fi for 40, 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, so that you don't even need that many for a hotel.
Nope.
It just feels like
we ran speed tests last night, and it was dismal.
They were. It was
sad.
It was absolutely dismal.
It made me sad.
I'm really bummed. I'm going to do more research because we are going to go to the Overlook in the future.
I was
going to
say this is actually a lot of fun being on location, being able to just record with you and everything.
Yeah.
But I do miss the chat, and I miss.
Yeah.
I you know what? I'll look in the camera and I'll say this. I miss all of you. I do.
Yeah, I really do. And we were bummed. My hope was I could figure something out. I was like, if the Wi-Fi isn't good at the hotel, maybe I'll like upgrade my plan to have as much data as possible and hotspot it. But hotspotting is so speed limited as well that it's just like, even though I've got 5G on my phone, and it's just something we never have to worry about when we record normal because I have gig internet, I have fiber at the office. DTP studios
headquarters.
So I've got fiber, so it's just like I've got gig up and download speed, so it's like we never have to worry about internet. And so suddenly here we are on the road, and I'm just like, I don't know how the fuck we're gonna do this. Like, and
it turns out that we didn't.
We just weren't able to. I wish you all were here with us.
Yeah. But my biggest regret from the escape rooms was in this room. So we walk in, and it's her parlor, and there's a couch and two chairs.
You missed.
Yes, I know. I'm pissed about it because the actor was like, "Oh, we're in Mima's house. Mima, where are you? Oh, well, while we wait for Mima, we need you to sit down." And so I'm like, "Oh, we got to sit down. There's a couch with 2 spots and 2 chairs. We need 4 people to sit down." So I sat down in the chair. 1 person sits on the chair. 3 people sat on the couch. And all of a sudden, a teapot starts going off in the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it didn't make it seem like we all
Mrs. Kirsch.
Kirsch, that's what it is.
Mrs. Kirsch.
So we're in Mrs. Kirsch's house, but she's calling her Meemaw and everything like that. And she's like, Meemaw, you left your teapot on. We're going to turn it off for you.
And I was over there.
And you were over there
Yeah,
because you didn't sit down.
Me and a couple people, because, there's only enough room for a few to sit down.
Yes.
So there's 4 people that had to sit down. So me and someone else went over there, turned the burners down, and then that wasn't doing anything. So finally the other person that was there with me pulled the teapot off, and that's what triggered everything.
And what happened?
And then right behind us, I would say chiffero, but that doesn't make any damn sense in a kitchen. Whatever you call a hutch, like whatever, opened up, and it was a 1-to-1 scale of that saggy tit
beast,
Mrs. Kirsch creature.
Man.
And dude, it was
nasty.
It was exactly like the movie. Like it didn't look like, oh, it's a little freaking. No, it was high quality, and it closed right as you were getting in.
I know. I'm like trying to get in there. Everyone else got to see it. I'm like the last one because I was on the chair farthest from the kitchen, and I'm like, what? And then the door closed, and I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah,
I was really bummed, dude. I was really kind of bummed at that. I was like, man, just leave it open. I want to see it.
Yeah, it was, and I will say it was more probably the speed of our group. I don't think that it was like open for too little of a time, because it was open for a significant portion of time.
It's just they all stopped to look, and I couldn't get through.
Yeah,
I was literally the last one of a group of like 9. So that's such a fun, such a fun scene. 6, 7.
It's such a fun scene in the movie.
Our second group had 7 in it. 7 losers.
Well,
6.
wasn't there 6?
6 in chapter 2. Hashtag Tad is terrible. Poor Stanley. Poor Stanley. Can't believe you, sir. Wow.
I mean,
you're a monster.
I'm just being accurate.
You're a monster.
I'm just being accurate. That's all.
So we get done with.
It's not offensive or mean if it's true, right?
Yes, it still can be mean and offensive, Tad. Just because it's true doesn't mean that it's not mean and offensive. I don't know whoever taught you that, but they taught you wrong.
Oh, man, I love the spirit of it. It's so funny.
Well, then we get out of that house, and we get into the festival, the carnival days.
Yeah.
Which was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
I had a moment with the actor in that room. I don't know if you saw that.
So is this where the clown... the water guns and stuff. Okay,
like full on like carnival alley. We had to knock down cans.
They would knock over the 3 cans. There was like the balloon where you shoot the clown's mouth. Or I guess it wasn't a balloon in this case.
It wasn't a balloon. It was a puzzle.
Every carny game I've ever played, though, you're like trying to inflate the balloon until it pops. But it was basically that game. There was a popcorn concession stand and stuff.
There was a ticket booth. There was
again that one. Just production values were like it felt like I was outside. Like
it was so high ceiling.
Yeah, I didn't feel like, oh, I'm in a warehouse that's made to look outside. Like it felt like I was outside.
It was great.
Like I feel like they maybe even been pumping in more cool air because I felt like that felt more outside.
And then you had like the carny lights came on because I was like, what triggered the room is you flipped a switch, and we got a new actor there. Our actress that was with us from the start, for Ash was her name. She got grabbed right there as we were leaving her.
And again, because I was always in the back, generally as we were moving in and out of groups, which again I was trying to avoid because I'm like, I know Pennywise keeps coming from behind. Because there was one point, maybe it was Ash, that like the actor actually got grabbed. A door opened.
Yeah, that's right there.
We were going in a door one way, and there was a door that was perpendicular to it. As we were going in, everyone else is going meandering, and she's standing right by that perpendicular door, and the door flies open. Pennywise actor is there, grabs her. She's screaming to high hell.
But they had already walked out into the carnival, so I don't think they heard him.
No.
But I'm like, bye, Ash, and they all turned around. And I'm like, yeah, Ash just got grabbed.
Yeah. So great.
And they're like, oh,
great acting.
So one of the guys goes over and he flips the switch, and we get a new actor here. And this one, I did not catch his name.
I didn't either. No, you're remembering way more of them than I did.
Oh, well, it's not surprising with your memory.
Yeah, I'm really bad with names. Like, there's been a number of great memes where it's just like, people can tell me their names, but I just have a weakness where the second they tell me their names, I don't remember their name.
In one ear and out the other. Tad.
And I'm not
Tad. His name is Tad.
And I'm not
What's your
trying
name again?
I'm not trying to be rude at all. And it's not even that I'm just like being indifferent when people like introduce themselves. There's just an element of just like you're meeting a person for the first time, and if I'm not like really trying to hyper focus on wait for them to give you your name, they'll say it, but just the flow of the conversation happens, and like 10 minutes later I'm like, what the fuck's your name?
Well, what did they say?
So yeah, you're remembering way more of the names than I.
I'm doing what I can. I didn't remember all of them. I don't remember this one's name. The Carney folk, I would call them.
So there's a Seinfeld episode where Jerry's dating a girl, and he gets pretty deep in when he realizes he doesn't
know her name.
So, and that would be me. Like that just resonates with me because it's just like
Sounds about right.
And I know that's a complete tangent, but also one of my favorite behind the scenes things is they said that her name rhymed with a part of the female anatomy. So then they're trying to guess the names, and when they actually were recording it, they asked the audience members, "What do you think?" And someone said a name, and they're like, "That's better than what we wrote." So they took that.
They took that.
They took that guy's.
Imagine being that guy. Like, yep, I hope wrote Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Which one? That one.
That one. Sorry, I know that's
No,
a tangent,
it's
but
good.
it's just I love those elements of like spontaneity and creativity. Like you hear it all the time in movies and television, where it's just like.
Yeah.
Something happens, but you're usually it's an actor. But it's like, can you imagine just being some Joe Smo that got tickets for Seinfeld?
Yeah.
you had them change the show. But yeah, I'm terrible with names, so that's
this Carney actor here was really great, and everything. And this had one of the best scares in the entire escape room, in one or two. I don't know if you saw this as much. I think you did, but with this carnival alley, this game alley, and everything like that, it was huge. It was probably. What do you say? Like 30 feet.
It was
long?
pretty big. Yeah, it was because again
From the door we came into the door we went out of.
The fact that they were able to like make it feel like you were outdoors. Yeah, it was
not only tall but like long. And
it was
like
a big room.
So remember, we just left Mrs. Kirsch's house. That's the door we came out of. That's where Ash was grabbed. And then as we're coming through, we're doing all the carnival games, and there was like 3 or 4 puzzles we had to solve, and we're all looking. We're all down at the end, away from the door that we came out of, waiting for a door that we're going to go into to open. And the Carney actor was standing up on like a table or a barrel or something, and then all of a sudden their face, I honestly don't know if that was a man or a woman, their face dropped, and they just went, "That's a scary clown," or something like that. And I was to the side, and the rest of the group was there, and then there was you in the back. And I turned, and from 20 feet away, I see that clown just standing in the doorway. Everyone turns around and sees it. Every single person, like, basically screamed, flinched, or something, and that clown just started marching. Not running. Michael Myers marching, just that steady pace towards it. And the Carney actor was like, "We gotta go!" I'm like, "Go, go, 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 go!" And we all took off running, and I was the first one through the door.
Yeah.
And this is no, I wasn't the first one through the door. We get in, and we end up in one of those black lit rooms where the walls are painted, and then we're like pushing, and like the Carney person sneaks in behind us, and Pennywise almost gets us, and then he's like, "Well, push on the walls. Maybe there's secret doors," and everything like that. And then I end up in front there, and this is where the big mix-up happens. With this is that I end up in front, so I'm going to tell my side of it, and then you're going to tell your side of it.
Yeah.
So I end up in front in these black lit rooms. There's a rope that you have to pull to unlock one door. There was a knob to unlock one door, and I got to say, Pennywise got me here too.
That rope too had like a loud sound that happened.
Oh, it
too,
did.
That scared the shit
Yeah.
out of a lot of people.
We get through that one, and then we come around, and I turn the knob. And right as I turn the knob, I'm like, "Oh, did it open?" And there was 3 doors. And I'm like, "Did it open?" And as I push on the left one, like a speakeasy, and Pennywise just sticks his face right through it. I'm go, Jesus, God, son of a,
Again,
choice words.
Hayden and your wife, and we'll make sure they go first on every room.
And we're just there, just cause. But the door opens, and we're back where we started. And the Carney person's there, and he's like, "Quick, go through." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, the other door's open now."
So
So we went across, and there's these swinging bag things.
It's clowns.
Clowns.
It's like almost like punching bags.
Almost
a
like,
bit.
yeah.
But they're
So I'm just like pushing them out of the way and everything, and I don't know if that's what happened. And so I get to the end of that room, and there's 2 doors, a left and a right. The left had an exit sign over it, so I'm like, okay, that's not the way. So I try the right door, and it opens. So I go into a hall of mirrors, the mirror maze kind of thing.
Yeah.
I go in, and
there's nothing.
all but 3 people, the Carney actor, you, and the one
guy.
one guy. The door closes and locks.
Yes. Yeah.
So now this is where you need to tell your side.
So you guys go through, and from what I'm picking up, the door should have been locked.
Yes.
And it wasn't. So you guys all got through, and I don't know why, but me and the one dude were at the back, and then the Carney was way back behind us, and the door closed. I don't know even know why the other guy, and again, I was always at the back. So me and the other guy are there, and he's just like, oh shit. And like there was an element where I was like, instantly I knew like this isn't right.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong. Like,
Something's wrong.
The way he's acting, he dropped his act, and again, I don't think the actors were all so good. I don't think that it was like at all a discredit. But it's just like, oh no, and like trying to open the door or whatever, and it's like, oh, they shouldn't have gone through yet, like and stuff, and like
a little bit of panic.
Yeah, like panicked and like, wow, I'm just like, what do we do? It's like, wait, he's like, and he's just like, there was like some spiral stuff, and he's just like explained like what, but he basically explained like, he basically broke like, okay, here's what we got to do to solve it, and here's where the clues were. So whatever, but then went and like with the swinging clowns, like you basically had to hold them in an order, like because they basically, as they swayed, there was things on the walls that were lights, like light bars that went all the way around, and as it hit different points of the swing, it changed colors.
Oh,
and so you had to hold, and so we basically had like 6 clowns, and there's 3 of us, and we had to hold, and it wasn't like you just have to hold it to one side. There was like 2 to 3 colors before the center. So at the center, it may have been blue, then it's red, then it's pink, then it's yellow. And then the other way, there's 3 other colors, and you've got these 6 things, and each of them you have to set up at the right color with different positions. So it's like we had to basically, and like honestly, you need, because like when they, like it's funny because as they were saying, like at one point we were talking about you've got to have at least 4 people minimum, and it's like I think because like a room like this, you can't do with 2 or 3 people. Like honestly, I think we barely by the skin of our nuts got through that, like,
only because, and also you had someone helping,
and the actor was helping us. So basically, like each of us ended up in a spot where, like, the actor, like with the first 2, like we got the colors right, and then had the one guy sit there and hold those 2 clowns in those positions. The actor's trying to help, as then we do the next 2. He holds those, and then I do the last 2, and we're all trying to. So we're both double arming freaking clowns,
and these are big.
And they're hefty. Yeah,
they are.
So like honestly, it was barely. Like I do not think that like in general 3 people could have solved that.
Yeah.
But then that is what triggers it, moves it to the other room. But then it sounds like
we got out. We're gonna skip ahead here to the end. We were asking about that, like the guy was. This is where the guy was complaining about it They were jumping too fast to helping us solve it, is what he said. And he's like, well, I just felt like the hanging clown room, and the guy was like, well, hold on, because it was the Carney actor who was with us. Like, they were walking through, they had a drink, they were, like, taking a break, and they were walking through, and I was like, hey, great job. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Hey, sorry about the clown room. And the guy's like, yeah, I just wish you would have given us more time. And he's like, no, I had to rush you because the people who had gone through, me and the others,
guys,
me and the other, it was his mom and then the 3 other people that were with us in Chapter 1. So we had 5 of us that had gone through. We were in a mirror maze,
one of those mirror mazes,
and the problem.
Let me just pause real quick and say there's nothing that makes me happier in the world. Almost, we'll leave some headway there. Then videos of children in those mazes just fucking face planting into those things.
Bam.
Like it is one of my favorite things. Every time I see one come up on Instagram or whatever, I watch it. I'm just like.
Well, I wish you had been with me and recording me because I went face first into a mirror. So
yeah, I was just doing the blind man.
Well,
shuffle.
that's the problem. Okay, so
I had lights though. So
that was the problem, is that we had no lights. It was pitch black. So all of a sudden, looming out of the darkness was this with this on my chest and everything like that.
So ultimately, that's what he ended up telling us at the very end is the reason he was basically just like to hell with the puzzle.
And panicked a little bit.
Panicking is because you all were now in that mirror maze in pitch black.
It doesn't trigger the lights until that puzzle's solved.
Yeah, once you solve the puzzle in room A, room B will light up. So you guys are all in there, and honestly, it may actually work to your because like there's elements of it where it's darkness, right? So, but that's not. And I think from their perspective, they're like, there's a safe
clowns in there. And we walked past. I noticed them because I was like really close, like trying to see, like, is this an actual way? But everyone else was just kind of like, I had one person holding onto the back of my shirt for a little bit. Yeah. Okay. He's like, because I was in front. And I was just like, okay, there's a way here. And he's like, no, I think we're supposed to go this way. And then we got separated. And then finally I'm like, where the fuck's Tad? And I don't know if you heard me. I'm like, Tad, where are you?
Yeah, no, I did. I mean, no, I'm in a completely separate room.
And then they started being like, well, we had a keypad. I'm like, oh, well, I guess we should just keep going. I just figured you were just being Tad and not answering me and making me think that you were gone. I really thought you were just pranking me.
No. Pennywise got me.
That's what I was thinking. So we ended up.
You couldn't be so lucky, sir.
I know.
And besides, if I were to run into Pennywise, we would team up.
I know, and I'd be dead.
Yeah, to your utter destruction. You.
Just get that away from me a little bit.
Once we get it though, on your guys' side, suddenly the lights come on, right?
Yeah, and now that we have another light puzzle.
And it's not like it's not like it's super bright at all. Like, but there is some light though, right?
Yes.
Like
it was a lot easier to maneuver when there was some light versus no light.
I don't want to convey that it's like this brightly lit. Because, it's still dimly lit, but you guys were literally in there in pitch black. And that's why ultimately it sounds like why the actor was freaking out so much is because, like...
He had people in the dark.
A majority of the party was in the next room, which you shouldn't have been in yet, and you guys are in the pitch black.
And did you hear what they said? That the Carney actor turned and walked away. Another actor was on the other side of the door leading to the restrooms. And they said, what happened? He goes, oh, the maglock failed.
Yeah, and that's what I assumed.
That's what
I gathered. Is ultimately we should have triggered that door to open to move into the next area. It didn't fully close and magnetize, so you guys were able to vamoose through.
Literally,
but I
didn't force it or anything. Like I walked up to it, I just put my hand on it and it opened.
As the third to last person went through, though, for some reason, because that's what happened.
There was a gap.
There was me and the other dude, and then the actor. And when the third to last person went through, I think they kind of hit the door with enough gusto that it went back and it closed and mag locked.
Yep.
So we were just sitting there going like, well, this door doesn't open. And then that's, again, the actor's kind of like, uh-oh. And again, they were doing a great job.
Yeah.
But there was a panic there that I was like, yeah, this isn't supposed to happen. Something's up here. I don't know what. I don't know why they're freaking out, but this isn't normal.
Yeah. And then we get out of the maze. And we end up back at Nebo Street, and this is where I got to shout them out because, dude, they built 2 Nebo Streets.
Yeah,
2, because I don't know if you have your sense of direction in there. We were facing completely the opposite direction of the way the original Nebo Street was. Nebo Street 1 was facing this way. Nebo Street 2 was facing this way. I am not kidding. I'm like that. That made me pause. I don't know if you saw it. I paused and I went, oh my God, they built a second one.
Yeah.
And I started looking over.
There are 2
well,
of
the
them.
problem was I was last in there, and everyone was like scrambling. You had already found a clue in there.
Yeah.
By the time I got in there, and I was just like,
which is very rare because again, I kept at the back, so it's like by the time I got in, everyone had already got a lay of the land of like, well, here's a lock, here's a keypad, whatever, and it was just a matter of like finding whatever. But like that element of like discovery, like. There wasn't many of those for me.
No.
For me, it was more of just like,
and it wasn't by it was by choice.
Yeah, for sure. Again, and the only reason I was even like, let me get away from the back is because I wanted the Pennywise actor to have more opportunities.
And oh my gosh, he got that mom.
Oh yeah,
there was the son and the mom combo,
and she seemed very like, I don't want to say down like emotionally, but I think she was just a very low key person. She didn't seem very talkative.
I think she was dragged there by her son.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I got from her.
she didn't seem to have a lot of energy.
Come on, Mom, this will be fun. And she's just like,
but yeah, she was getting. They got her a few times.
Oh, they got her. There was one spot there in the Kirsch home where she got 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and she was getting pretty nervous by the end.
She was.
Yeah, she was getting pretty nervous for sure.
And that was actually pretty close to the end, too, because there was only a couple little rooms after that. They didn't have big rooms in the end of It Chapter 2. It Chapter 1 had some massive rooms towards the end. We had Neibolt Street.
Yeah.
Entrance, we had Neibolt Street 1, 2, 3, and then we were out. In this one, it was Neibolt Street 1 was a big puzzle. The second one wasn't a puzzle at all, really. I don't think there was
the one where they had the bathroom. Nasty looking toilet.
Past that.
Okay.
Past that. That's Kirsch's house that had the bathroom.
Oh, that's right. That was out.
Yeah.
That
was Kirsch's house that had the bathroom. No, Neibolt Street had the rotten food, which had the puzzles for the light switches and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, that went fast. And then we got into the next one, which had the 3 doors again.
Yeah.
And then that one went, do this. Oh, done.
Yeah.
Open that door. Nope. Close it. Open it again. Open it again. Something happened.
Yeah.
Jump scare. And then it's like, okay, go through that door. And we're like, okay. So we went into that door, and she shut us in.
Yeah.
And then we looked up, and there were spiders. And then we solved that, and then we went through the 3rd door, and then we were done.
Well, there was the last big room.
The last big room, but there wasn't really like a
which was the final
puzzle.
final thing, right? You had the giant Pennywise.
Yeah.
We ended up having to do the ritual of Chud?
That was really cool. I didn't know if I was honestly wondering if I should say that or not, spoiler wise, but I will say that was really cool to kind of we held hands and she's like, we need to chant something, and so I said the first thing that came to my mind. I was the first one that said it. Chud, the ritual of Chud, 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 Chud. We all just started chanting it. Yeah. And then shit happened. And that's what I'll leave for spoiler free there. Shit happened. And then she's like, all right, we're out. And we went out and we went right back into the gift shop and the museum again and everything.
And I will say maybe it's fitting with the movies. The second one didn't feel as good as the first one. The second one was good.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny to me is like I could be talking about either the movies or the escape rooms. Like, because it was. I really enjoyed it, but it was not as good as the first one.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we did both. Like I would recommend both.
Absolutely.
But I do think that one was better, and it's like I wonder if it really just comes from they're drawn from the movies, and the first movie is a fucking banger.
It's
man.
got a lot to pull from, especially and we've talked about this with It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. I honestly believe It Chapter 1 hits differently because it's kids.
Yeah.
And that's where we've talked about this, is that they need to stop this Chapter
Splitting
1,
it.
Chapter 2.
They
did it in the mini-series.
Yeah.
No,
they
have that shit all
they
have that
got,
kid stuff
they
all
have
throughout.
to intercut it. They have to intercut
Yeah.
it. Like I've said that after 19. I'm like 27 years from now when they remake it again or readapt it again, someone's got to have the balls to just go, you know what? We're doing this just like King wrote it.
Yep.
And it's gonna chop like where the fuck did the idea come from to cut him in half like that?
I don't know.
Because you feel like the
That's not how the book is.
Yeah, you should have. For one, maybe people should look at it and go, maybe Stephen King has this figured out, and maybe he knows how to tell fucking stories, especially by 1986 when he's already written, fucking a dozen banger classic movies, or books that went on to be classic movies. Maybe he knows what he's doing. And then on top of it, Muschetti's, when they are approaching it, the Muschetti our siblings, brother and sister, when they're coming at it as a property, I get it. They didn't know they were going to get a chapter 2 for sure.
Yeah.
But they feel like they still made the movie under the impression they were going to get it, right? Because you don't have enough there in chapter 1. If that was the only movie, there's a lot left
to be
missing.
desired. Yeah.
But it's like everyone watching the Tim Curry one for decades has always said the kid part was amazing and the adult part was not bad, but it was just not as good.
I think it sums it up when you just go, the adult stuff was, it was okay.
Yeah. But I think that maybe Muschetti's should have been able to look at that 27 years of history and realize that, man, the adult side's way weaker. And maybe I'm guessing most likely King came to that same conclusion as a writer, where he's like, this is far weaker, so let me intercut it. And I just at some point, and not that I'm even saying like, oh, we've got to get another readaptation, but it's going to happen because Pennywise is too iconic to not do it. But when they do it, they need to.
He's up there with like Michael and Freddy and Jason. We're gonna get more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're going to just like Ghostface.
And I think the next version, I would love to see another television version, modern day. Give me a 6, 7, 8, a 6, 7, 8 episode mini series. That would give you a lot of breadth and stuff. And then with that, intercut it, man. Don't give me like half the season is old and half the season's young. Like, give it to me all at once. I cut back and forth.
Sign me up.
Go Flanagan style, Haunting a Hill House, an episode per character, and not the like the way that Hill House is structured is brilliant. And imagine that an Eddie chapter, and then like as you go through each of the characters,
it's old Eddie remembering what younger Eddie did and everything like that. But then you also have 3 or 4 episodes at the end, which is the chapter 2 stuff where it's the ritual of Chud again, and they don't have Stanley this time. Is the circle strong enough? Mike's been hurt, and all that kind of stuff is there. But then also you intercut, well, what happened at the end of it, chapter 1? You intercut what happened with the kids. Yeah. What happened back in 58? What was that? Yeah. Then we find out about Stanley losing his shit and the cutting the hands and making the promise and all that stuff and everything. And that's where you have that's mixed in with it. You have their battle with Pennywise back then and everything like that. So I just don't feel like, if everyone loves the kids stuff, why are we going away from it for an entire film or an entire half of a miniseries? And
I think that's what has frustrated some people is like the chapter 2, they didn't even do that, because then they ended up trying to recreate kid scenes for everyone, and it's like, so wait a minute. And then they didn't film it all when they filmed chapter 1, so now you're doing this weird de-aging thing that wasn't as great in 2019 as it is now. Right. Some of it felt very awkward. And it's just like, why are we doing this? Why are we, because it was a 3-hour movie as well. And it's just like, chop out all the kids stuff. And if you wanted that stuff to be established, do that in chapter 1 and then pay it off with chapter 2. Don't, shoehorn in a bunch of kids stuff just because you need it story-wise now in chapter 2. I don't know. Again, I do love the movie. There's some choices that made me kind of scratch my head.
No, I'm with you.
But yeah, my overall thoughts though, highly recommend this to any Stephen King fan, to any fan of it, any Dark Tower fan. I mean, I don't know if I saw any Dark Tower references though, did we?
I didn't see any.
We didn't even get the turtle referenced in the escape room.
No, well, he's not in the movies, is he?
There's the reference when they find the turtle in the water.
Oh, right.
They never pull it up or anything, but when they're doing their swimming thing. I
don't remember those movies as well as you do. I remember the book a lot better than you do, but I don't remember the movies as well.
Yeah, but I highly recommend this. If you are a listener of ours,
it was so good.
I know you're going to appreciate it. So if you're ever in Las Vegas, maybe you're in for a business trip, maybe you're here for fun,
or you're passing through.
Yeah, go find yourself 3-ish hours. Get your reservations for it, because everything there, from again the production value, the actors, the actual puzzles were all incredible.
Yes.
Again, I think I've heard people talk enough about Escape Room, so I kind of get a gist. But there were some elements where I was just like, they blew me away. Where I'm like, there's no way it's X, Y, or Z, because that's just way too in depth. They won't go this deep, and they actually did. So
they had you did one. The last room in it chapter 1 had an actual 10-key keypad, like an electronic keypad. Yeah, and you had to put in the 4-digit code. Yeah, like that's unheard of in an escape room. That was such high production value for that. The smoke and light. Oh, the lighting. We haven't even talked about the lighting. The lighting was amazing because part of the problems with solving some of the puzzles, it was hard to see. We were in a sewer. To see.
Yeah, there's times where it's just like, hey, you've got this clue, you got to read this number, and it's like it's so dim that like there's times like people are getting down like on their knees to like try to look closer because it's so dark.
Like squinting at it and everything. And then there was one that they had the numbers, but I don't know if you caught on, but it was supposed to be for feel. Mm-hmm. Like it was the Nebolt one. Yeah. You're like, there's a letter down there, and then I had one that was in a bucket. And you know those little water beads that you can fill up with like water, or like you put the beads in a bucket and then you pour water in them and they kind of absorb it? There was a letter hidden at the bottom of that. Yeah. So you can't move the beads to see it. So you had to like feel the letter there. And so stuff like that. That's not done at normal escape rooms. And like I said, I've been to escape rooms. It's like, you know, the 50-cent locks. Well, it's probably not 50 cents anymore. But when we were kids, the little quarter 50-cent machines at like the grocery stores.
Yeah.
You know the little locks you would get out of there?
Yeah.
That's the kind of keys that we would have in escape rooms.
Yeah.
And you saw the keys that we had in this escape room. There were several keys, like actual physical keys. They were like master lock, like actual padlocks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, very very well done, man. Everything that with the it's I highly recommend it. I mean, yeah, we've made a trip out of this for sure. But that was certainly the main reason that, that we were coming down here is for the escape room.
I had so much fun, Tad. Like,
yeah,
I was a little bit sore and everything like that, but going through that, everything clicked off. My all the soreness from my feet from walking the strip and everything like that yesterday left me. I was a kid in a candy store. I was having so much fun.
Yeah, it was great, and the gift shop it was great.
Oh, they had shirts, they had hoodies, they had plushies, they had tumblers, they had coffee mugs, they had travel coffee.
They had
mugs.
A little stuffed beaver that says "I heart."
Dairy. Bought that for my daughter. I don't know if she's going to understand the reference, but my wife will tell her, and she will be mad at me, and it's going to be hilarious.
Oh, did you? I didn't know you got one of the beavers.
I got one of the beavers.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Which makes sense because Maine logging beavers, you know, they were prevalent up there. Way back when.
Yeah.
Ago.
But yeah, I would highly recommend it. Everyone has done an incredible job with this. Again, I didn't know what to expect. I maybe even lowered my expectations a bit because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know escape rooms, and I don't know if I should like hold like my experiences to haunted houses to this because I just don't know. And it blew me away.
Oh, I got to tell you a story about chapter 1 that you didn't hear. So there was the 2 girls that came through. They were probably 19, 21, somewhere in that range. They were the ones that screamed at everything. Those 2. They they got kind of snippy. I don't want to say snippy. They had a friend moment. You told me this was a haunted house, and she's like, "Well, it is scary." And she goes, "I know, but I get focused on the puzzles, and then I get scared when something jumps out at me, and I'm not ready for it." And she got it was so funny. Like they were like, "We thought this was just a haunted house." They didn't know it was like an escape room.
Yeah,
and so it threw the one friend off because she's just like, "I get so focused on the puzzles, so I get distracted."
But again, I will have to say, I said it earlier in the episode. I think The Shining. I think that is like
the Overlook.
That is just absolutely
waiting for one.
That is just fucking asking to be made.
It should be done in Colorado though.
Oh, Estes Park
should
like Estes Park is building that whole entertainment thing. Like, dude, build a fucking escape room.
Oh yeah.
For I mean, dude, can you imagine?
I don't want to end up in Mrs. Macy's room.
Oh, dude, yeah, recreation of 237, man. I mean, I saw the floppy tits of Mrs. Kirsch, so you need to go see the saggy, slightly decomposed tits of Mrs. Massey.
No.
Or like the red bathroom.
Oh,
you know,
the
just all those. There's so
the
many.
bathroom with the have the fire axe come through it and everything.
No, I mean even talking about just where he gets cleaned off by Delbert Grady.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking there's so many good things. I mean,
hallway with the carpet.
Yeah, just feels like it's begging to be done.
Oh, it's right there. I will say chapter 1 and 2 was phenomenal, but The Shining, you're 100% right. If someone was like, okay, this one was a success, we're going to do another Stephen King property, my vote would be The Shining. And I love the idea of the Stand escape room. Have a Vegas, have a Boulder, have a Algonquin, have Nebraska, have the cornfields and everything like that. No, Shining would be so much better.
Shining, yeah.
Oh, dude, if I ever came out of a room and there's a fucking hedge animal, I'm hitting that escape button. I'm like, I'm out. Nope, I am out. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. I paid my money. I do not want a refund. I am just going to wait for Tad outside. Thank you very much. I'm out.
I mean, of course, I wouldn't let you leave.
I know you wouldn't. You almost got out on accident once.
Yeah, because they didn't have the lights on enough, so it's just like, oh, there's a button right there.
I'm like, no, push it, and you push it. I'm like, that's the escape button. Like if you want out, and you're
that's like
it's
like an SOS. You could push it and it'll let you out. Like
every single room had a button like that, where if you're just like, I can't do this anymore, because they had warnings for claustrophobia, hypertension, heart conditions, and pregnancy.
Yeah,
like do not do this if you have any of these conditions.
So.
and
How about-
claustrophobia.
How about the FAQ? Because we looked at that.
Yeah.
And it talked about how it was intense and
Yeah.
it may not be for children.
Yeah.
Dude, who's not going to bring their kid to that?
I didn't see a single kid.
No, I know, but who wouldn't? I mean, that you should.
A lot of responsible parents, Tad.
Nah.
That's who.
Nah.
I wouldn't bring my kid to it.
Why not? She'd have fun.
No. No, she would not. Uncle Tad, that's mean.
She might gain the fear of clowns that your wife has.
She has that fear already, thank you. She's not a fan of clowns. I will say that.
Oh man. Oh. Yeah, it was a lot of fun though, man. I 10 out of 10. Again, I don't know what I was expecting. Like, I was definitely in for a good trip and all that, but like the escape room itself, I'm like, I hope it's good. I really do, but like, I don't know.
I'm really glad to hear that because we left and we'd done our shopping, and then we had to go get gas and everything like that. So we went and did that, and you just seemed kind of down, and I was like, man, did he not like it?
No,
I was really kind of, and then we came here and we got set up for the podcast. And that takes a little bit getting all the, a laptop set up, the soundboard set up, the microphones.
Setting up in a new way that we've never done before.
Yeah, exactly. So
we got a whole new equipment set up for the on the go.
The camera, the light, and everything like that with the camera. So just all through the setup and the drive over back to the hotel and everything like that, I'm like, man, I don't think he enjoyed that much. So I'm really happy to hear that you did enjoy it.
No, I really did.
Good.
I did. And like I said, I can't recommend it enough to anyone. If you're a King fan, if you're watching this, you're probably a King fan. And I know that this is probably one of the heavier episodes we've done in a long time that was like on one property. But I mean, yeah.
I mean, we went to the Escape It room in Vegas. We went to Las Vegas to do this.
Oh, I do have to call out Dark Tower wise though. Yesterday, with you were talking about being sore.
Mm-hmm.
Our excursion on the Strip. I that whole day, including the morning, I ended up on my I had my smartwatch. I ended up with a
step counter.
Well, when we got to the room, I ended up with 18,996 steps, and I'm like, there is no fucking way. I think it was it was 96. Yeah, 96. So 96. I was four steps shy of 19,000.
Yep.
I'm like, fuck that. Put my watch back on. I walked.
I recorded him doing it.
I paced the room.
Yep. He walked 4 steps and he went, good, 19,000, took it back on.
Yeah, I did more strides. So I ended up like 19,006. But
still 19,000.
Yeah.
Still 19.
So I had
should we tell him the sad part about our room?
Oh man,
you forgot that story. You got to tell him that story.
When I was checking in, the guy, he hands me the key card and stuff, and he's like, "All right, you're room 329."
320, 329.
And then he's like, and floor 19, and he slides my card over, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's amazing."
Dude.
But then I look down, and it's written on it. It said 18. I'm like, "Wait, 18 or 19? You said 19, but it says 18." He's like, "Oh, it's 18." I'm like, "God damn it!"
The entire weekend, Tad's been like, "Oh yeah, we're on floor 19." I'm like, "Nope, 18."
Yeah,
he's like, "God damn it!"
Well, that's the first thing the dude said is that you're on floor 19, and then like of course Dark Tower, and one of my favorite. My favorite number.
I know. I feel for you, Ted.
But right above us right now,
19.
We're
right there. We were this close to greatness.
Yeah, it's
so close.
Yeah,
so close.
Indeed. I've actually been on floor 19, maybe in this hotel actually.
Oh,
when Hayden and I came to Vegas about a decade ago, I think we were on floor 19. I think I even have a picture in my memories somewhere on my private social media of just like the little gold-plated thing that's next to the elevator that shows your floor number.
Oh,
took a picture of it, or I think it was. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a blast.
What else you got? Closing thoughts on the escape room?
This whole trip has been a blast. I will say I've had nothing but fun this entire time getting out of town with you and everything like that. There's always that little bit of nervous when you're doing something that you've never done before. I've been out of town, but I don't think I've ever been out of town with just a friend.
Oh, really?
Like even like other friends and stuff like that. I don't really think that I've been alone with other friends. A group of friends, yes. But like one-on-one, like you and Hayden have done trips to Mexico
all over
and everything like that. But I've never done anything like this, and I gotta say, it was a hell of a good time. And I will say, Tad said it all, but I'm gonna say it in my way that I can. The Escape It rooms here in Vegas are one of the best productions, and I've been to escape rooms before, and I will say those escape rooms are great. They're fine for what they are, but these ones this is top shelf stuff. This is like head and shoulders above anything else that you can see in smaller towns and stuff like that. This was Hollywood production value stuff. Like
it really was.
I really felt like I got so immersed a couple times where I'm just like, oh my God, they're flooding the sewers. Look at that.
Yeah.
And then like I'm typing in a password as Stuart Redman and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it was so much fun to immerse myself in the world of it, unlike anything I've ever done before.
Yeah.
For any Stephen King property. And I'm honestly, Ted, I will say this, and I'm going to regret this so hard, but man, when we go into Colorado, I'm excited now.
Estes Park,
I
man.
am so excited now to go to Colorado with you, to record there and everything. I'm not staying in that fucking hotel. You can fuck right off if you think that's going to happen.
Why not?
No.
It'll be fun.
No.
You could be in room 218.
Because I'd have to sleep alone.
Or you could be, because I don't know if 217, or no, yeah, 217 is the real room. So you can go to 216, right next door. You'll come, you'll wake up in the morning, dude. Why do you keep tapping on my wall all night? I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You're like, what are you talking about? That's not me. No, see, that's why I'm going to be down the street at like a Best Western or or Hilton or some shit like that. I'm not doing it. If you had a room where we could record in 217 and then we slept in like a 2-bed room and everything like that, fine. I can deal with that. But sleeping alone, fuck that. No.
So here's the other thought when you're talking about immersion and stuff. Stephen King theme park.
Oh, dude, it's so right there.
I mean,
the Pennywise haunted carousel, the Carrie White roller coaster, Randall
Christine.
Flagg's drop of death.
You have to have something overlook.
The Overlook, Splash Mountain.
And I mean, you probably have some rides, but I feel like a lot of it would almost be like more immersive. Stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's even a whole new paradigm that needs to be made where it's just like it isn't necessarily an amusement park where it's all about rides.
It's an
but it's
immersive
like what if it's an
experience?
immersive thing where it's just like you've got the Overlook area, you've got the Pennywise, or you've got the dairy wing of the park and stuff. And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, oh man, we've talked a little bit before. I mean, Blaine the Mono.
Oh. Come in, solve my riddles.
Oh man. And dude, again, there's an escape room for you. Blaine the Mono.
There's a room right there.
There's a fucking room, dude. And
what about if you do a Stephen
King
King escape room where it's not just one Stephen King property, it's not just The Shining.
It's multiple.
It's all of them.
And I think it's got to be like what you said about those previous ones where it's like with Blaine, if you don't do it, there's not just like we got to whatever. No, you lose.
Okay, bye.
You either live or die. Like Blaine, that's it. Like that's it. What else Dark Tower wise, whether it be an escape room or some sort of experience? What do you what else you think?
I would love to see a guy in a chambray work shirt dance the Kamala.
Yeah, have like the
performers,
the corn, the reap, whatever. I can't remember what they call it. Like
one of the carnival games would be throwing rises.
Yeah, could do
rises.
Yeah. Char-U Tree.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out.
Oh,
I'm out. I cannot believe you, sir.
Oh, we can do the Gasher Billy Bumbler punt, which I just hit in my reread not too long ago when he tries to fucking punt him off the bridge.
I hate you
man.
so much. So much.
Dandelo. That could be a fun one.
Thank you for watching Dark Tower Palaver. This is the end of our podcast. We're never coming back because this man's not going to live through the night.
Yeah, Dandelo would be. I'm just trying to think of some of the
worst. You're just the worst. You know that?
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
If you want to do a scary ride, you could do the running through the tunnel with Susanna and Roland, getting away from the beastie.
Yeah.
Because it's dark. It doesn't have to be like high production value. But still, you could have like glimpses of flame and stuff like that, and you're just on a car just slowly moving, and it's getting closer and closer behind you.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Boulder and Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of thing. Just like, it's pulling itself along behind you.
You've got to do a Dark Tower, right?
Just have a dark tower.
Have a dark tower.
It's like the rock in a lagoon here in Utah, where it's just you go up right and then it just drops you.
Ooh, what about Towers Bookstore?
For what?
That could be an
escape room.
Not even an escape room, but just like imagine being able to go in to Towers Bookstore. Like again, immersive
Manhattan
Restaurant of the Mind.
Manhattan Restaurant of the Mind.
Yeah, just because again, I don't think you could really. I don't think you even need to like work it into the escape room thing. It could just be an experience. Like what elements of the Dark Tower would just be kind of cool to go. And see.
You know what you should do is Manhattan Restaurant of the Mind and actually have it be an actual like cafe. Have the books and everything like that behind where they're checking out, but actually have it where you like can go in, sit down, and eat.
Gunslinger burritos.
Exactly.
It's something we
Bumbler
have, right?
Bumbler kebabs.
What about lobstrosities?
I can't believe you didn't respond to me on that. I can't believe you didn't react at all.
What?
I said something terrible.
What'd you say?
Bumbler kebabs.
No,
nothing. Wow.
Roland says they're not good to eat. He says they're worse than dogs to eat.
They're tougher than dogs. That doesn't mean that they're bad, but I'm not saying that we should eat bumblers.
What about lobstrosity? You know the other thing that dawned on me? This reread, for some fucking reason, it's never dawned on me. Lobstrosities aren't their names.
No.
Roland doesn't know what they are.
No.
He just calls them like
that's what Eddie names them.
No, okay, it's before Eddie because Roland looks at him and at first it's like creatures, and then before they get him, like it gets to the point where lobstrosity comes to mind, and then that's just what they phrase it the rest of the way, and I'm like it's never dawned on me before. That's not like their real name.
We don't know what that.
We don't know what they're fucking called. They could just be called fucking Larry crabs, and we fucking would never know. They just call them lobstrosities.
Larry crabs.
I don't know.
Larry crabs. What the hell is that?
Throwing out something random. God knows what things are called.
They're Andolini crabs.
No, well, they become that, but yeah. I don't know. It doesn't give me. I mean, King has got a lot of stuff, man, and like just the
maximum overdrive bumper cars.
Yeah, a vending machine that shoots people shoots torpedoes cans at them. Or what is it? Is it the ATM that calls King an asshole?
Yeah, you're an asshole. You're an asshole.
She just called me an asshole. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, what would you with Christine? Is that just you just see the car and take a picture with it, or do you the escape room? Actually, it just dawned on me. Cujo.
Ooh. Rough.
If you fail, your child has died. That's the picture. You put a filter on so it puts X's through your kid's eyes. The bulk in there for the picture. Or it makes them look like blue.
Damn,
you did not save your child.
We better wrap up before you say something that's going to get you canceled. Oh my God, dude. You're on one.
It's Tad they killed, so
it's true.
I'm as much a victim as anyone else.
You're
right?
having some PTSD, like some issues dealing with that.
No, but I think with like a like some sort of a like park, you have characters. It's like Disneyland. I mean, you could legitimately make it like Disneyland. Like Pennywise is wandering around. I mean, you could have wolves. Wolves of the Kala.
You could have Dairy Carnival days going on.
Ooh, Pet Cemetery. The actual cemetery.
Ooh.
The actual cemetery. That would be
pay an extra charge and you get to bury a cat. Not a real one, like a stuffed one.
Yeah. There's all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
You can get a little gauge with a scalpel walking around the park, just snarling his teeth at you.
He keeps like looking at people's Achilles,
people's Achilles tendons, just to make Hayden uncomfortable.
He just walks up to you and just goes, "Nice Achilles."
But yeah, I think we could probably wrap it. I know we've
right about 2 hours.
We've tangented it a bit. But yeah, I mean, I think we've said everything we could say. About
highly recommend it. 10 out of 10, right?
Yeah, and even if you've never done an escape room, like I haven't, and I can't even necessarily say that, like, because that's the other thing I think I have my expectations a little bit low. Is like, I guess I get what escape rooms are. They've never appealed to me. Like, that's never been a thing where I'm like, that kind of sounds fun. Let's do it. I've even been in like work things where people are like, oh, for team building, maybe we should go do an escape room. I'm always like, can we go to bowling and get some pitchers and roll some balls instead. Like it's never.
See, the thing is, you have to make sure you have the right crew if you're going to go do a group escape room.
Yeah,
and everyone has to be invested.
But that's why people love them for team building, because it really does force you to work as teams.
You get it now, right?
I do, but again, it's not that I didn't understand that before. It's just that it's never felt very appealing to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been something where like, yeah, that's something I want to go burn a couple hours on.
Hey,
so
you know what? If we wanted to do a team building down here for this one, I'd come back for that.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to the higher ups about why we need to come back to Vegas.
You get your wife. I'll get Hayden, and
I'm telling you right now, dude, that's never gonna happen.
You can bring your daughter too.
I can no. I can guarantee that is never going to happen. My wife will say no, and I guarantee Hayden will say no.
Okay, Hayden just not too long ago agreed to doing a haunted house.
A haunted house, not an it-themed escape room.
This is not much different.
And it's not a haunted house.
Yeah, it's close.
I will bet you money that if you put it in the group text tonight and said we should do this all together, I bet you money you'll get a fuck no from Hayden.
What is about your wife?
Fuck no from her as well.
All right. But here's the thing. We've worn both of them down on things before, so
this is true.
You've got your wife this close.
She is so close to watching the movies.
She
is so close. I'm setting her movie horror. She asked me to do a horror fest this month for her, and I asked her straight up, can I do things that you have said no to in the past? And she's like, no Chucky, no dolls, and no clowns. That includes Pennywise. And I went, man,
Pennywise isn't a clown though. He's much more than
dude.
a clown.
I'm telling you, I think she would enjoy the book more than she would enjoy the movies or the TV show.
Yeah.
Because the thing is like, man, if you went back and you actually broke it down by scene in the book, like I know we just said we were going to wrap up and we're right at time and everything like that, but real fast, if you went down and broke it down by scene or just do every chapter in it on if he's a clown in that chapter or not, I'd bet you'd be shocked.
Next time you go through, you should do that.
I will try to.
Catalog it.
I will try to. It's like this chapter. Is he a clown in this chapter?
Or inventory it. Just every time he's there, just have a notepad where you just like it's
okay,
like
this one,
this
werewolf,
this scene,
one.
werewolf,
leper, one,
Mrs. Kirsch,
one,
yeah, exactly. And I think clown will may have the lead even.
It might have the lead, but I'm going to be shocked in the overall chapters of the book. How many are Pennywise the clown?
It's like the whole Hannibal Lecter's on screen for on screen for like 9 minutes.
That's it.
But that's
And he won Best Actor.
Yeah, indeed. Not the most the smallest though.
No, it's not.
There's a lady from the network that was in like 3 or 4 minutes and got an Oscar.
Oh, really?
I was like, damn, what the hell? How does that happen? But yes, let's go ahead and let me go ahead and pull up the. Is the mouse dead?
Did it turn off?
Does it? I don't know.
Just double click, hit both buttons.
Oh, there it is. All right. Let's go ahead and pull up the old announcement stuff. So then, closing wise, if you would like to subscribe to us, you can do that on any podcasting service of your choice. You can stream us on Spotify. You can, or here at YouTube, if you want to join us for the live streams at YouTube, you can do that at youtube.com/DarkTowerPalaver. Or now, for the first time ever, we're going to have a full episode that is not a live stream, that is just a straight video upload.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be a common thing.
But if we go on the road and we don't have internet, I mean.
Yeah, it might have to be something, but I think it'll be rare for sure. Generally speaking, though, we live stream our shows. If you want to join us for those, go to youtube.com/DarkTowerPalaver. If you want to subscribe, rate, and review us, we appreciate that. And if you want to, or I guess that is the podcast way for YouTube, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. I guess I did fail at changing the time, so I think that may have, I don't know if it alerted people. Or if maybe I pulled the time off entirely for the live stream of this episode.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, and also keep an eye on our social media, because I did throw everything out there on social media to let everyone know, hey, sorry, I think all of us that have ever stayed in a hotel know just how shitty the internet is. You know what they could even do is just have fucking hardwired. Have a hardwired
Let me
landline.
plug into the Ethernet.
Yeah, exactly. But if you want to also look at our entire backlog of live streams, which goes back quite a ways now, you can find that over there at youtube.com/DarkTowerPalaver. So if you can't join us live, which we'd love to have you with us live, you can always go back and rewatch old shows, as well as you'll see like the live chat. YouTube does a cool thing where it like shows it real time, so you see the chats coming in at the same time we record it. So you can kind of see how the conversation goes. And if you do that and you still want to chime in on something that we missed or everyone in the comment or the chat missed, throw a comment on the video. We've had a couple of those over the last couple of months. I don't think we've ever really asked for them, but yeah, if you've got stuff like these conversations never end, we definitely put them in the book and like take a snapshot of them. But we'll still engage with you. Or if you have a something you want to talk about, send us an email as well. And then if you want to find the show notes, do that at darktowerpalaver.com. This will be a big one. We're going to have all the pictures that we have of the building, every picture we could take. There's really nothing inside the actual escape room part of it. But I think, did we get anything? Or we did in the lobby, yeah. The museum stuff and then all the merchandise we got.
And then the one picture that I snuck of that ID badge.
Yeah, East Texas.
I was a bad boy.
East Texas. And then if you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. We have a few different levels of support, but everyone gets the Discord server and everyone also gets our monthly hangouts. If you want to join us on that, we would definitely appreciate that. And then if you want to contact us, like I said, we're always our email bag is always open to reach out to us, even if it's something like, hey, in episode 3 years ago, something was said and you have something to say on it, say it, because we're never going to sit there and go, oh man, that conversation was 3 years ago. We don't really want to talk about that. Like, it's all a cycle.
Everything's a cause, a wheel.
It's a wheel, exactly. Yep. So,
but email us, our old email, darktowerpalaver@gmail.com, or our new one, show@darktowerpalaver.com. And then, like Tad mentioned, we have our social media feeds. It's our Twitter is @DarkTowerPod. That's @DarkTowerPod. Our Facebook is facebook.com/DarkTowerPalaver. Our Instagram is DarkTowerPalaver, all one word, no spaces. And then check out our merchandise. It's tpublic.com/users/DarkTowerPalaver.
Indeed, and we will be back in a fortnight for a book club. We just did 2 roundtables in a row. That will get us back to the spot where the first episodes of the month are roundtables. The second one is book clubs. We are getting close to rolling story in book 4.
Yes, very close.
We are approaching. He's being asked about it a few times, but he keeps giving everyone the stiff arm. But we are getting close to diving into that. We will soon be meeting Rhea of the Coos, which I know you're excited about. Now there's one. There's an escape room, Rhea's hut. And Ermont coming down at you. But yeah, that is what we'll be here in 2 weeks for that episode, and then 2 weeks later we will have we'll be back for a roundtable, which is where we'll cover hopefully some Flanagan news. I have been keeping my eye mostly out, but I did know that this episode we wouldn't really have a lot of time to talk about a lot of news, but I don't think there's been anything on that because I do think I would have obviously
you would have heard something.
Obviously would have inserted it into this episode as well, something like that. But we will catch up on any news that we may have missed.
Real fast. Good news, the writer's strike's over.
Yes, that is true. The writer's strike is over. Some of the stuff that Flanagan said that we covered, the last thing that we covered of him saying was that there was a lot of interesting pieces in place. There were some people. He made it sound like basically the strikes is the only thing stopping potentially some forward motion, and he felt really good about it. And there was actors that were interested and stuff. So the writer's strike is over. As of now, the SAG strike is still on, but it is coming very close. I believe it's going to be resolved here very shortly. They're in pretty deep negotiations with the actors.
The writers got what they wanted to. That's the other thing. I know we didn't talk about that at all, but we're very happy about that.
So we're hoping that the turtle is going to bring us a Flanagan Dark Tower series. I believe with Amazon. I'm still putting my money on that. We're here in the land of Randy and gambling, Randy Flanagan gambling, and I'm going to put my money on Mike Flanagan for Amazon Studios doing a Dark Tower series and potentially some movies.
Spin the wheel.
What you got any predictions? What, like in terms of like who?
I honestly haven't given it much thought. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm trying not to think too much about it, get my hopes up.
I just feel like Amazon, they already invested once in it, so they have some interest in Dark Tower. They weren't down with what Mazzara did, but they also just signed Flanagan to this huge thing. Yeah. Like, this is probably going to be a 10-year project, like all things told. He's talked about, what did he say, 5 or 6 seasons and then a couple movies maybe.
Yeah.
That's that's a decades. So it's like,
Yeah.
what did he just sign with them as a first look deal? Like, that's going to be all out the fucking window if he actually gets, like, if Apple buys into it and
Yeah.
he signs up for him. They're not going to have any time to have him make stuff. So I believe it's going to be Amazon, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
But we will sign off, as we always do, by saying long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
And Randall Flagg, our lives for you.
Y'all float down here.